Chapter 2697. Hearing that Tang Ao and the other two were warriors from the great desolate city, Xiaoyu immediately became excited. Xiaoyu was also very curious about the great desolate city. She heard that there were many things she had never seen before, so she wanted to go and take a look. Tang Ao knew about the Ice Tiger City. On his way here, Tang Ao had passed by the Ice Tiger City. In this area, the Ice Tiger City was the only yellow rank power. This meant that there was at least one astral-reaching realm warrior in the Ice Tiger City. The surrounding villages and towns were all under the jurisdiction of the Ice Tiger City. "Let me take you to my house to rest," Xiaoyu invited enthusiastically. Although there would be humans escaping from the beasts on the Thousand-Feather Snow Mountain from time to time, warriors from the great desolate city rarely came here. At least, Xiaoyu had never seen one before. "All right, we will rest here for a couple of days," Tang Ao said and took out a storage bag for Xiaoyu. This storage bag contained 1,000 low-grade immortal crystals. Tang Ao knew that with Xiaoyu's Sea of Souls realm cultivation base, it would be enough for her to cultivate with extreme-grade spirit stones. However, right now, Tang Ao did not have any more extreme-grade spirit stones. He still had some upper and mid-grade ones, but they were not as much as immortal crystals. "I don't want it." Sister Xiaobai said that one should not take the guests' things when entertaining guests. Xiaoyu did not even look at what was inside the storage bag before returning it to Tang Ao. Then, she pulled Ning Xuanma's hand and walked toward the village in the distance. Tang Ao was a bit dazed, thinking that Xiaoyu was really naive and simple. Since she did not want immortal crystals, then he would help her out in other areas in the future. This village was not far from where they were. Tang Ao and the other two followed Xiaoyu and soon arrived at the village. Because of the falling snow, there was basically no one on the road. Tang Ao scanned the village with his soul remembrance, and found that most of the people here were mortals. With her Sea of Souls realm cultivation base, Xiaoyu was already the most powerful warrior here. However, Tang Ao discovered that although Xiaoyu was at the Spirit Sea realm, she did not seem to know how to use immortal spiritual power. Along the way, there were many places that they could fly to directly, but Xiaoyu always brought the three of them around. After a while, Tang Ao followed Xiaoyu to a two-story building. Before entering, Tang Ao's soul remembrance detected an injured white-clothed woman. Moreover, this white-clothed woman's cultivation was even higher than Xiaoyu's, reaching the 9th level of the Life and Death realm. A Life and Death realm 9th stage martial artist appearing in a mortal village made Tang Ao a little vigilant. Moreover, this white-robed woman had used some unknown method to conceal her cultivation. If it weren't for Tang Ao's powerful soul remembrance, Tang Ao wouldn't have been able to tell that this person was a 9th level Life and Death realm martial artist. "Sister Xiaobai, I'm back." Xiaoyu pushed open the door of the courtyard and said happily. On the second floor of the building, Bai Shihan's face was very pale. It had been 3 years since Bai Shihan escaped to this place to take refuge. In these 3 years, her injuries had only healed by 30%. If it weren't for her tenacious life force and Xiaoyu saving her from the foot of the mountain, she would have died long ago. Xiaoyu was very hospitable, and would often bring back passing martial artists. However, the martial artists in this area didn't have very high cultivations. Most of them were below the Spirit Sea realm, so Bai Shihan didn't take it to heart. However, the 3 people that Xiaoyu brought back this time caused Bai Shihan to frown. Chapter 2698. Another possibility was that the other party's cultivation was way higher than hers. If it were somewhere else, Bai Shihan would not be so sure. But here, Bai Shihan was sure that no powerful martial artist would come. In the unbounded desolation region, if one wanted to build a yellow rank power, one would need at least a couple of astral-reaching realm martial artists, or even one late astral-reaching realm martial artist. But here, the city leader of the Ice Tiger City had only reached the first level of astral-reaching realm, and he had already built a yellow rank power. There were no special immortal spirit plants or spirit mines around here, and no martial artist would come here for no reason. With a creaking sound, the door of the building opened from the inside. Then, Xiao Yu ran in front of Bai Shihan and introduced the two to each other. After a simple exchange, Xiao Yu arranged for Tang Ao and the other two to stay. There were a lot of empty rooms in this building. Tang Ao and the other two stayed in 3 rooms side by side on the first floor. After entering the room, Tang Ao sat down casually. There was no spirit gathering formation in this room. It was just a normal room. Tang Ao did not know if anyone had lived here before, but because it was so clean, even if someone had lived here before, Tang Ao would not be able to tell. Tang Ao did not immediately study the formation covering the 1,000-feather snow mountain. Instead, he took out a transparent crystal stone. In this transparent crystal stone, there was a shadow of an 8-colored flower. If Ning Xuanma were here, he would definitely recognize that this shadow was the 8 treasure-gathering spirit grass that he had obtained before. The 8 treasure-gathering spirit grass was an incredible item that could increase a martial artist's potential. Even though Tang Ao was quite a spendthrift, Tang Ao would not destroy such a treasure so easily. Back in the Great Desolation City, the 8 treasure-gathering spirit grass had indeed been turned into ashes by Tang Ao's palm power. However, the essence of the grass had been sealed in the mysterious crystal stone by Tang Ao. The mysterious crystal stone was a special treasure. Normal martial artists did not know much about it, but as alchemists, even if they had not seen it before, most of them would have heard about it. The function of the mysterious crystal was to seal the essence of the immortal spiritual herbs. When some immortal spiritual herbs were accidentally damaged and could not be preserved, the mystic crystal could be used to suck out the essence of the immortal spiritual herbs and seal it in the mystic crystal. However, it was not easy to suck out the essence of the immortal spiritual herb with the mysterious crystal. Even some powerful alchemists would need about an hour to do it. However, Tang Ao's alchemy Dao was inherited from alchemy sage Green Rock and Shenong Emperor, so he had a thorough understanding of the immortal spirit grass. In addition, Tang Ao's soul was powerful. Therefore, it only took Tang Ao a moment to absorb the essence of the 8 treasure god-gathering grass into the mystic crystal. "Big brother, you were looking for me?" Not long after Tang Ao took out the mysterious crystal, Jin Chen, who had received Tang Ao's voice transmission, immediately came to Tang Ao's door. Without waiting for Jin Chen to come in, Tang Ao pushed open the door and walked out. "Brother Chen, did you bring the 100 Immortals fruit?" Jin Chen nodded and handed the 100 Immortals fruit to Tang Ao. "All right, let's go find a place for you to break through to the Yin-Yang realm." After Tang Ao finished speaking, he passed a few words to Ning Xuanma and left with Jin Chen. Jin Chen breaking through to the Yin-Yang realm would cause quite a commotion. Therefore, Tang Ao brought Jin Chen and flew for a long time before stopping at a mountain. Chapter 2699. Brother. After arriving at the mountain, Jin Chen seemed to have something to say, but after thinking for a while, he still didn't say it. "Brother Chen, when did you become so hesitant? Just say what you want to say." Tang Ao casually threw the crystal to Jin Chen, then took out a few formation flags and started to set up a formation. In his previous life, Tang Ao's limit was the peak of the astral reaching realm. Tang Ao didn't have much experience in trying to break into the Yin-Yang realm, so he could only make some preparations for Jin Chen. "Brother, I've already tried to break into the Yin-Yang realm twice. Once was in the Immortal Ruins, and the other time was in the Unbounded Desolation region. But I don't know why, but I just can't break into the Yin-Yang realm." Hearing Tang Ao's words, Jin Chen told him what had happened before. Tang Ao didn't seem to care and said, "This crystal in your hand contains the essence of the 8 treasure spirit gathering grass, plus the 100 Immortals fruit that can definitely help a level 9 astral reaching realm warrior reach the Yin-Yang realm. This time, you have no choice but to break into the yin-yang realm. Don't waste time, hurry up and refine the crystal. After telling Jin Chen the method to refine the mysterious crystals, Tang Ao ignored Jin Chen, who was full of questions. Instead, he started to set up a formation. At this moment, Jin Chen's mind was indeed full of doubts. Not long ago, Jin Chen saw the 8 treasure spirit gathering grass turn into ashes in Tang Ao's hands. But now, the mysterious crystal of the 8 treasure spirit gathering grass was in Jin Chen's hands. However, Jin Chen didn't think too much about it. His martial talent was indeed not good. After reaching the astral reaching realm, it would be his limit. Because of this, even with the resources from the 1000 treasure tower, Jin Chen couldn't make any progress. Later, when he went to the unbounded desolation region, he still couldn't break into the yin-yang realm. Wait a minute. Just as Jin Chen was about to refine the mystic crystal, Tang Ao suddenly thought of something. Tang Ao said and took out a spirit testing stone. The spirit testing stone was an immortal tool used to test a martial artist's spirit root. This spirit testing stone was refined by Tang Ao himself. It was slightly better than the spirit testing stones in the sections. If Tang Ao asked Jin Chen directly, Jin Chen would not be able to explain. Therefore, Tang Ao decided to use a spirit testing stone to test Jin Chen's martial arts talent. The 8 treasures spirit gathering grass could be consumed directly, but it could also be supplemented with medicinal pills to bring out the greatest effect of the 8 treasures spirit gathering grass. This kind of pill was almost impossible for other martial artists to obtain, but as Tang Ao was the successor of Pill St. Greenrock, this pill was naturally not a problem for Tang Ao. After Jin Chen placed his hand on the spirit testing stone, the 2 pillars of light immediately flickered with bursts of light. Of the 2 light pillars, one was earth yellow, representing the earth spirit root, and the other was bluish purple, representing the thunder spirit root. Moreover, this light was very mottled. Within the earth spirit root, there was the thunder spirit root's aura mixed together. Apart from these 2 light pillars, there were 4 other light pillars as well. However, they were not as eye-catching as the earth spirit root and the thunder spirit root. 6 mixed spirit roots, dual spirit root. Tang Ao looked at the spirit testing stone and smiled bitterly. For Jin Chen to be able to have his current cultivation base, he had truly used countless treasures to accumulate it. Of course, this was also due to Jin Chen's diligent cultivation. Otherwise, even if the treasures could accumulate his cultivation base, Jin Chen's strength would still be extremely weak. Chapter 2700. Jin Chen had trained to the peak of astral reaching realm level 9 with a 6-element mixed spirit root. It was not hard to tell how tough he was. In other words, if it were not for his luck this time and the 8 treasure gathering spirit plant, even if he had reached the yin-yang realm, his cultivation would not be able to increase anymore. Seeing the troubled look on Tang Ao's face, Jin Chen was a bit worried as well. "Brother, how about you keep the stone for yourself? You are already at astral reaching realm level 6 now. With your potential, you will be able to reach astral reaching realm level 9 soon." Jin Chen was a bit troubled at first, but after thinking that he could keep the stone for Tang Ao, he immediately felt better. Tang Ao knew that Jin Chen was honest and would not lie. Jin Chen had said that he would keep the stone for him, which meant that he meant it. Tang Ao was touched as he said, "Brother Chen, this 8 treasure gathering spirit plant is useless to me. Right now, I can use the plant and the cleansing pellet to get rid of your extra 5-element spirit root and increase your potential. Your earth spirit root and thunder spirit root are on par. I suggest you keep the thunder spirit root. What do you think?" If Jin Chen had an earth or thunder spirit root, which was more outstanding, then there would be no need to think about it. He could just keep the best one. But right now, Jin Chen's earth spirit root and thunder spirit root were almost the same, which put Tang Ao in a difficult position. "I will listen to you, brother. I will keep the thunder spirit root." Jin Chun did not know much about spirit root. If Ning Xuanma did not tell him that his spirit root might not be that good, he would not even know that it was that bad. Alright, I happen to have a thunder martial art. Once I get rid of your 5-element mixed spirit root, I will take you as a disciple on behalf of my teacher. I will teach you the sky thunder art. After Tang Ao finished talking, he started to make the cleansing pellet. The cleansing pellet was a rank 3 immortal pellet which was easy to make. However, the lower ranked ones would not have much of an effect. Most importantly, the cleansing pellet could not be used for poison. It was a supplementary pellet for the 8 treasure-gathering spirit plant, which could only be used when one was using the plant. Without the 8 treasure spirit-gathering grass, it would be useless no matter how many cleansing pills he consumed. Tang Ao's alchemy speed was very fast. Even without the Shenong cauldron, Tang Ao was still able to refine supreme-grade cleansing pills. After Jin Chun absorbed the essence of the 8 treasure spirit-gathering grass in the mysterious crystal, he immediately took the cleansing pill. Then, the celestial origin energy in Jin Chen's body started to boil, and wisps of flames appeared around Jin Chen. Of the 6 spirit roots in Jin Chen's body, apart from the thunder spirit root that Tang Ao could keep, the rest of the spirit roots were being burned by this faint golden flame. No matter how strong Jin Chen's willpower was, his body was still trembling at this moment. Clearly, he was experiencing something extremely painful. However, Jin Chen still remembered Tang Ao's words and kept his mind steady. This process lasted for 2 hours. Although it was only 2 hours, Jin Chen felt as though he had experienced 100 years. At this moment, the flames around Jin Chen's body had completely disappeared, and a decaying aura was emitted from Jin Chen's body. Tang Ao's expression changed. The 8 treasure spirit gathering grass could allow a martial artist to be reborn, but there was a certain level of danger in using it. This decaying aura seemed to be the result of Jin Chen's inability to withstand the medicinal powers of the 8 treasure spirit gathering grass and the cleansing pellet, which caused the meridians in his body to start disintegrating. Chapter 2701. Brother Chun, catch it? Tang Ao threw the 100 immortal fruit that had been detoxified to Jin Chen. Jin Chen caught the 100 immortal fruit and swallowed it. Then, he started to circulate the celestial core power in his body to break through to the yin-yang realm. With his pure lightning spiritual root and the help of the 100 immortals fruit, Jin Chen had successfully broken through to the yin-yang stage after an hour when the lightning in the sky dissipated. Jin Chen was very excited when he felt the endless power in his body. Big brother, I broke through. Jin Chen rarely got excited, but at this moment, he was very excited. Jin Chen originally thought that he would never be able to break through to the yin-yang realm in this lifetime. However, he didn't expect that after meeting Tang Ao again, he would break through to the yin-yang realm in just a few days. Now, I will teach you the heavenly thunder technique. This is my master's portrait. Kowtow to him. Tang Ao nodded. Tang Ao knew that Jin Chen had a pure spiritual root of thunder even without using the spirit testing stone. There was only rich celestial core power in Jin Chen's body. The rest of the celestial core power could no longer be sensed. Hearing Tang Ao's words, Jin Chen immediately knelt down and paid his respects to Nian Jiuxiao. After Jin Chen paid his respects to Nian Jiuxiao, Tang Ao gave Jin Chen the jade slip of the heavenly thunder technique and his own cultivation experience. Apart from cultivation techniques, the heavenly thunder technique also had 3,000 thunder technique. Among them, Tang Ao only cultivated the most basic thunder sword. Therefore, Tang Ao didn't have any good suggestions and could only let Jin Chen choose a suitable technique to cultivate. The sacred martial realm was the realm with the most complete rules of heaven and earth in the true martial realm. Just like the desolate martial realm, there was no realm lord in the sacred martial realm. In the desolate martial realm, because the rules of heaven and earth were incomplete, the chaotic heaven realm experts could not display the strength of the chaotic heaven realm in the desolate martial realm, and no chaotic heaven realm experts would take a fancy to the desolate martial realm, so there was no realm lord in the desolate martial realm. The reason why the sacred martial realm didn't have a realm lord was because the cultivators of the sacred martial realm were too strong. In an ordinary martial realm, it was already very astonishing for a cultivator to have 10 chaotic heaven realm experts. However, in the sacred martial realm, there were more than 100 chaotic heaven realm experts. As for how many chaotic heaven realm experts there were in the sacred martial realm, no one knew. In fact, more than half of the Tao Masters in the True Force realm came from the sacred martial realm and cultivated there. The sacred martial realm was the holy land of cultivation in the true martial realm. However, the competition in the sacred martial realm was extremely cruel. Not only were there humans here, but there were also other races apart from the demon race and the blood race. All clans hated each other. Therefore, in the sacred martial arts realm, only those top-notch experts were qualified to cultivate. If one's strength wasn't good enough, not to mention cultivation, even survival in the sacred martial realm would be a problem. While Written Nine Heavens was sitting on a lightning pool and refining his Tao law, he suddenly frowned. Written Nine Heavens sensed that he had suddenly gained a trace of karma. That brat. He actually took me in as a disciple for no reason at all. After sensing for a while, Written Nine Heavens immediately understood what was going on. At this moment, Written Nine Heavens cultivation was no longer at the peak of the 9th level of the chaotic heaven realm. Instead, it had returned to the Tao Master realm. After shaking his head, Written Nine Heavens looked into the distance of the lightning pool. There was no thunder or lightning there, as if it had become a world of talismans. Chapter 2702. After sensing that the aura inside Sushiro's body was not any weaker than his, Nine Heavens' thought became interested as well. With Nine Heavens' thought's power, he could naturally tell that his disciple's partner was obviously some old guy's reincarnation. Every time he thought of this, he would feel sorry for Tang Ao. His disciple was so talented, but he ended up in the hands of this old woman. Sushiro's aura had changed a lot, and she had also awakened the memories of her previous life. Right then, Sushiro was very conflicted. In her previous life, she was Tao Lord Cloud Talisman, and in this life, she was just a normal girl. Sushiro could not figure out which one was the real her. Tao Lord Cloud Talisman was very cold, and he had an innate hatred for male warriors. However, right then, Sushiro missed Tang Ao very much, which made her mind unstable. Her aura was constantly fluctuating. That disciple of mine is fine, and he even got me another disciple. You train the heavenly law talisman well. I also want to see which old monster you are. Right then, Nine Heavens' thought's voice was heard. After hearing his words, the fluctuation on Sushiro's body had calmed down as well. However, the will of Tao Lord Cloud Talisman inside Sushiro's body could not wait to use the heavenly law talisman to kill Nine Heavens' thought. Tang Ao, who was far away in the sacred martial realm, didn't know what was happening. He gave Jin Chen the cultivation jade slips of the heavenly thunder technique, Yin 9 Thunder, and Yang 9 Thunder. After instructing Jin Chen in his cultivation, Tang Ao looked at the message in the communication pearl with a slightly stunned expression. The message was from Ning Xuanma. The gist of it was that an origin martial realm warrior from the Ice Tiger City had come to the Thousand Feather Snow Mountain to ask Tang Ao how to handle it. Seeing this message, Tang Ao did not know whether to laugh or cry. Not to mention Ning Xuanma was at Astral Reaching Realm Level 6, Xiaoyu was at Seas of Souls Realm Level 3, and Bai Shihan was at Life and Death Realm Level 9. In such a village with crouching tigers and hidden dragons, there was actually an origin realm martial artist who dared to look for trouble. It was very hard for Tang Ao to imagine whether or not that Origin Realm martial artist's guts were bigger than the heavens. Let's go back and take a look. Although he didn't know whether to laugh or cry, Tang Ao still brought Jin Chen back to the Thousand Feather Snow Mountain. As soon as he arrived at the Thousand Feather Snow Mountain, Tang Ao saw that the previously empty square was now filled with people. Apart from the villagers of the Thousand Feather Snow Mountain, there were also 7 or 8 martial artists from Ice Tiger City. At that instant, a young man with wounds all over his body was being stepped on by a big man who held a machete. That big man only had the cultivation of the 7th level of the Origin Realm. In Tang Ao's eyes, he was not even worth mentioning. However, in the eyes of the normal villagers of the Thousand Feather Snow Mountain, he was a fiend that could not be offended. Big brother Tang Ao, Jin Chen. Ning Xuanma's face lit up when he saw Tang Ao and Jin Chen return. Ning Xuanma knew that Tang Ao had brought Jin Chen out to break through to the Yin-Yang realm, so he immediately asked about it. Tang Ao knew what Ning Xuanma wanted to ask and immediately nodded. Seeing Tang Ao nod, Ning Xuanma's eyes were filled with surprise as he ran over to Jin Chen. Ning Xuanma and Jin Chen had lived together for so many years in the Unbounded Desolation region, and the two liked each other very much. Now that Jin Chen had finally broken through to the Yin-Yang realm, Ning Xuanma could not be happier. Chapter 2703. Qianyu Village was under the jurisdiction of Ice Tiger City. Every year, they had to pay 2,000 kilograms of spiritual grains to Ice Tiger City. The area where Qianyu Village was located was covered in snow all year round. Although the area was vast, growing 2,000 kilograms of spiritual grains was already the limit. Now that Duan Lang had taken over this area, the amount of spiritual grains they had to pay had increased by 2.5 times. Qianyu Village naturally couldn't pay that much spiritual grains. Old thing, I think you must be tired of living to dare tease your grandpa Duan. Your village is the only village around the Thousand Feather Snow Mountain. The surrounding land belongs to Qianyu Village. Let alone 5,000 kilograms of spiritual grains a year, you can even grow 10,000 kilograms. I think you won't shed a tear until you see your coffin. Good. After saying that, Duan Lang's machete slashed down towards the young man. No, ahoo. The old village chief's legs went soft and he sat on the ground. Jin Chen was about to make a move, but he was pulled back by Tang Ao. Tang Ao saw that Bai Shihan was about to make a move. What made Tang Ao speechless was that Ning Xuanma, who was behind Jin Chen, suddenly appeared in front of Duan Lang. Duan Lang didn't know what was going on, but Ning Xuanma kicked him down the mountain. Duan Lang was at the 7th level of the Origin Martial Realm. Although he wouldn't die, his injuries wouldn't be light. Everyone from Qianyu Village was stunned when they saw Ning Xuanma kick Duan Lang down the mountain. Many people from Qianyu Village knew that Xiao Yu had brought back a few guests. Moreover, they weren't surprised at all. Xiao Yu was cheerful and enthusiastic. She would often invite passing cultivators to Qianyu Village as guests. In the beginning, Qianyu Village would also host a banquet to entertain these martial artists, but as the villagers discovered that these invited martial artists were basically ingrates who only knew how to eat and drink, everyone didn't have a good impression of these martial artists invited by Xiao Yu. This time, they had clearly misjudged him. When Qianyu Village was in danger, the cultivator invited by Xiao Yu was actually willing to step forward. Ning Xuanma kicked Duan Lang down the mountain. While the other 6 people who had followed Duan Lang were still at a loss, a young man from Qianyu Village suddenly stood up and shouted at Xiao Yu. You troublemaker, look at who you brought back. After beating up the Ice Tiger City's emissary, do we still have a good life? After Lu Liang finished speaking, he raised his hand and was about to hit Xiao Yu. However, before Lu Liang could hit Xiao Yu, Lu Liang felt himself flying. Lowering his head, he saw Jin Chen's cold face. Scram! Jin Chen hated this kind of servile behavior the most. If he wasn't worried that Lu Liang would fall to his death, Jin Chen would definitely throw him off the mountain. At this moment, the few people that followed Duan Lang abruptly reacted. "You bunch of rioters, how dare you rebel?" Without another word, he drew his saber and charged forward. They didn't care at all whether the people here had committed any serious crimes or not. In their opinion, as cultivators of Ice Tiger City, killing a few rioters wasn't a problem at all. Chapter 2704. Tang Ao walked forward with an ice-cold expression. Tang Ao originally only wanted to keep a low profile and investigate the whereabouts of some Emperor beast bones, as well as study the ancient arrays on the Thousand Feather Snow Mountain. However, since these fellows dared to provoke Tang Ao wouldn't hold back in the slightest. This kind of martial artist, who could even kill ordinary people without the strength to truss a chicken, clearly had a lot of blood on his hands. It could be said that his death was not to be regretted. Seeing Tang Ao kill the 5 people beside him with a wave of his hand, this martial artist was thoroughly dumbfounded. His right hand, which was holding the blade, was trembling incessantly. He wanted to escape, but he didn't dare. He didn't even have the courage to escape. At this moment, all the strength in his body seemed to have been sucked dry. He didn't even dare to move his body. Plop! This martial artist fiercely knelt on the ground, then kowtowed to Tang Ao. "Lord, please spare my life. I'm a martial artist of Ice Tiger City, and our city lord is an astral-reaching expert. If you kill me, chi..." A sword chi flew out, instantly enlarging in the eyes of this martial artist. He could feel death from this sword chi. He didn't have the slightest doubt that this sword chi would pierce through his forehead. Even if he were to touch it, he would be strangled by the frightening power of the sword chi. He wanted to dodge, but he discovered that an invisible power had already completely bound him. He couldn't budge an inch no matter how hard he tried. However, this sword chi ultimately stopped in front of his forehead. Tang Ao's voice followed. "I'm not keeping you here to threaten me. I'm keeping you here to deliver a message to Ice Tiger City's city lord. In the future, the Thousand Feather Snow Mountain won't need his management. While I'm at the Thousand Feather Snow Mountain, Ice Tiger City's martial artists shouldn't appear in the vicinity." Tang Ao waved his sleeve after speaking, and this martial artist also flew down from the waist of the mountain. It wasn't until Tang Ao killed all the cultivators from Ice Tiger City who came to stir up trouble, that the people of Qianyu village also stared at Tang Ao with their eyes wide open, unable to recover for a long time. After a few breaths, the old village chief seemed to have thought of something and immediately knelt down. "Many thanks for helping our Thousand Feather Village. Please stay in our Thousand Feather Village. From now on, our Thousand Feather Village will give you 3,000 caddies of spirit grains as an offering every year." Without waiting for the old village chief to finish, Tang Ao waved his sleeve, and the old village chief stood up. Immediately after, Tang Ao opened his mouth and said, "I won't hide it from everyone. I came here to look for something, but I haven't found it yet, so I will stay in the Thousand Feather Village for a while. However, I guarantee that even if the 3 of us leave in the future, Ice Tiger City won't do anything to the Thousand Feather Village, so everyone doesn't have to worry." The villagers of Qianyu Village never imagined that the crisis of Qianyu Village this time would be resolved by Tang Ao's trio. That night, the people of Qianyu Village naturally held a banquet at the village chief's house to entertain Tang Ao's trio. With Tang Ao's trio's current cultivation, even if the Thousand Feather Village took out their most precious spirit grains, it wouldn't be of much help to Tang Ao's trio. However, Tang Ao's enthusiasm was hard to refuse. That night, he still brought Jin Chen and the other 2 to celebrate with the people of Qianyu Village. For Tang Ao's trio, dealing with cultivators like Duan Lang and the others was just a piece of cake. But in the eyes of the villagers, Tang Ao's trio had directly resolved the crisis of Qianyu village. Of course, this was also because the villagers of Qianyu village did not know that Xiao Yu was a Sea of Souls realm martial artist, and Bai Shihan was a life and death realm martial artist. During the banquet, Tang Ao saw that Xiao Yu and Bai Shihan had completely integrated into this simple and honest village. Although Xiao Yu had the cultivation of Sea of Souls realm, she didn't know how to use celestial spiritual power. Meanwhile, Bai Shihan seemed to have spent too much time with these villagers, so she didn't have the arrogance of a life and death realm martial artist at all. Although Tang Ao and the other two were all astral-reaching realm martial artists, the three of them were very humble and didn't have that kind of arrogant feeling. After eating and drinking, the old village chief frowned and said, "Little brother Tang Ao, although you guys have beaten Duan Lang away today, our Thousand Feather Village is still under the jurisdiction of the Ice Tiger City. If the martial artists from the Ice Tiger City come, we really wouldn't know what to do." Chapter 2705. Low-rank immortal wine could make Jin Chen drunk, but Tang Ao did not have any reaction after drinking it. Ning Xuanma only drank a few cups. Even though immortal wine was very beneficial for martial artists' training, female martial artists usually did not like to drink, even if it was immortal wine. As for the Ice Tiger City, Tang Ao did not care about it at all. As long as Tang Ao wanted to, Tang Ao could create a yellow rank power anytime he wanted. The Ice Tiger City was a huge mountain on top of the people of Qianyu village, but in Tang Ao's eyes, it was not worth mentioning at all. What interested Tang Ao was Bai Shihan, who was only at the 9th level of the life and death realm, which was nothing to Tang Ao. However, Tang Ao still could not understand why a 9th level life and death realm martial artist like Bai Shihan would hide in a mortal village. Spirit grains were quite useful for Yuan martial and Sea of Souls realm martial artists, but not so useful for life and death realm martial artists. If there were 5 yuan rice that was of a higher grade than spirit grains, then it would be a different story. However, it was not easy to grow 5 yuan rice. In the early stages of its growth, one would need to use the Spirit Rain spell to gather spirit rain to water it. Moreover, this process had to continue until the 5 yuan rice had grown to 9 inches tall. Only then would the spirit rain stop, allowing the 5 yuan rice to grow on its own. If one wanted to increase the yield, one would have to do countless other things. Therefore, in order to grow 5 yuan rice, one would need to be at least at the Sea of Souls realm. Martial artists below the Sea of Souls realm would barely be able to grow 5 yuan rice, but the yield would be pitifully low, not to mention the ordinary people of Qianyu village. Compared to the elated crowd, Bai Shihan's face was a little bitter. Bai Shihan looked at the three speechlessly from afar. 5,000 kilograms of spirit grains was indeed an astronomical number for the Qianyu village. However, if Tang Ao and the other two really wanted to help the village, they could just go out and kill 1 or 2 demonic beasts, which would be worth 5,000 kilograms of spirit grains. In the end, Tang Ao's group of 3 beat up Duan Lang and the others for a moment of satisfaction, and they even let out some harsh words to Ice Tiger City. Although Bai Shihan could not see the cultivation of Tang Ao and the other two, she did not think that Tang Ao and the other two's cultivation would be high. Truly powerful martial artists would never come to a small place like Qianyu village. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened. Previously, there had been martial artists who had stood up and taught a lesson to Ice Tiger City's martial artists. However, when Ice Tiger City's martial artists had arrived, Bai Shihan had secretly paid a certain price to settle the matter. Compared to those martial artists who ran away after causing trouble, Bai Shihan felt that Tang Ao and the other two were not bad. However, Bai Shihan didn't know if Tang Ao and the other two were really responsible, or if they simply didn't know how powerful Ice Tiger City was. A night of celebration quickly came to an end. After everyone ate and drank to their heart's content, they dispersed. Tang Ao supported Jin Chen and went back to Xiao Yu's house. Seeing Jin Chen drunk like this, Tang Ao shook his head, thinking to himself that he would warn Jin Chen not to drink alcohol in the future. Drinking alcohol was a very strange thing. Some people were born with 1,000 cups of alcohol, while some people were born with 1 cup. Chapter 2706. Ning Xuanma was also surprised to see Tang Ao. She had followed Bai Shihan out after seeing her leave. Big brother Tang Ao, that Bai Shihan came out just now. But she disappeared the moment I came out. Ning Xuanma was very surprised. Logically speaking, Bai Shihan was at the 9th stage of life and death realm. She should not have been able to escape from under her nose. She can't leave. You go and look after brother Chun. I'll go and take a look. Tang Ao scanned the area with his sole remembrance and discovered Bai Shihan's figure. After leaving an elixir for Ning Xuanma, Tang Ao immediately followed. Bai Shihan's speed surprised even Tang Ao. In Tang Ao's opinion, Bai Shihan's current speed was even faster than his wind, thunder dark cloud. It was also because of this that Bai Shihan was able to escape from under Ning Xuanma's nose. Tang Ao did not hesitate and immediately used the purple thunder sky escape to chase after her. A 9th stage life and death realm martial artist was hiding in a mortal village. If she did not have any ulterior motives, then Tang Ao would not believe it. Bai Shihan directly flew toward the highest peak of the 1,000 Feather Mountain. Tang Ao had not been in the 1,000 Feather Mountain for a long time. Although he had long wanted to study the ancient array on the 1,000 Feather Mountain, Tang Ao had not done so yet. Bai Shihan looked at the peak not far away and felt somewhat pleased. The moment she came out, she saw that female martial artist called Ning Xuanma following behind her. Unfortunately, under her ice wings, Ning Xuanma could not even see her shadow. The winged race was originally a race that excelled in agility and speed. How could ordinary human martial artists catch up to them? Tang Ao's sole remembrance enveloped the entire area. Naturally, Tang Ao saw Bai Shihan's smug expression. Tang Ao touched his chin, feeling somewhat amused. Tang Ao also understood why Bai Shihan's speed was so fast. It was because Bai Shihan had a pair of transparent blue wings on her back. When these wings flapped, Bai Shihan's speed had already far surpassed the wind, thunder dark cloud. Tang Ao estimated that if Bai Shihan reached the astral reaching realm level 9, her speed would be able to compete with the purple thunder sky escape. Tang Ao could see that Bai Shihan wasn't a human, but Tang Ao couldn't tell what race she was. Thinking that Xiao Yu was a warrior of the Jade Rabbit race, Tang Ao also wondered if Bai Shihan was a warrior of the Jade Rabbit race. However, Bai Shihan did not have the same aura as Xiao Yu. A moment later, Bai Shihan arrived at the peak of the 1,000 Feather Snow Mountain. Although Bai Shihan was very confident in her speed, she still had a feeling that someone was following her. Thinking of this, Bai Shihan didn't continue to fly toward the peak of the snow mountain. Instead, she flew away from the 1,000 Feather Snow Mountain. Tang Ao knew that Bai Shihan hadn't discovered him, and her destination seemed to be the peak of the 1,000 Feather Snow Mountain. However, Tang Ao still couldn't figure out what Bai Shihan wanted to do at the peak of the 1,000 Feather Snow Mountain. No matter what Bai Shihan wanted to do, Tang Ao didn't plan to follow her. Tang Ao found a random spot and used his Thunder Shadow Phantom body to escape. He then set up a stealth array and hid. Chapter 2707. Bai Shihan quickly formed a few hand seals and a mysterious rune fused with Bai Shihan's essence blood. Formless ripples spread out and a void door appeared in front of Bai Shihan. Tang Ao was very surprised in his heart. This place actually had a space barrier. Moreover, Tang Ao saw 3 totems on the gate of the space barrier. One of the totems was a rabbit, another was a pair of wings, and the last one was a claw mark. The rabbit's ting was the Jade Rabbit race's totem. The pair of wings should be the totem of Bai Shihan's race. As for the claw mark, Tang Ao couldn't tell what race it belonged to. However, Tang Ao also thought of many things in an instant. The Thousand-Feather Snow Mountain might have been the holy land of these three great races a long time ago. However, something happened later and the three great races either disappeared in history or left this area. As Tang Ao was pondering, the void door was slowly opened by Bai Shihan. The instant Bai Shihan opened it, Tang Ao's expression changed drastically. An extremely dense, immortal spiritual energy gushed out. Tang Ao came from the Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce and was a Grade 4 Immortal Array Master. The place where Tang Ao cultivated would never lack immortal spiritual energy. However, this was the first time Tang Ao had seen a place with such dense immortal spiritual energy. Yes, it couldn't be described as dense. The immortal spiritual energy in this place had already reached a very dense level. However, Tang Ao quickly frowned. Although this immortal spiritual energy was very heaven-defying, it was mixed with a gray aura. This gray aura could corrode meridians. After Tang Ao absorbed a strand of immortal spiritual energy, it was quickly absorbed by Tang Ao. However, this gray aura couldn't be quickly refined by Tang Ao even with the netherworld flame. He could only slowly remove it. Tang Ao didn't bother with this gray aura. The instant Bai Shihan entered this space, Tang Ao formed a hand seal and left a soul remembrance clone outside before immediately using Thunder Shadow Illusion to follow. Tang Ao's cultivation was much higher than Bai Shihan's, and his Thunder Shadow Phantom Body was too powerful. Therefore, Bai Shihan had no idea that Tang Ao had followed her to the Three Ancestor Sacred Ground. The Three Ancestor Holy Land was the name of this space. Tang Ao's guess was completely correct. The Jade Rabbit race, the Winged race, and the Heavenly Wolf race, these three ancient races were all born here. This space was not opened up by ordinary formation methods or other methods, but was naturally formed. The moment Tang Ao entered this place, he immediately sensed a desolate and distant aura. Moreover, Tang Ao saw many ice sculptures. There were many people from the Jade Rabbit race, the Winged race, and the Heavenly Wolf race. However, for some unknown reason, these people were frozen in this place. Moreover, Tang Ao was sure that these people hadn't died, but their life auras were extremely weak. Out of curiosity, Tang Ao's soul remembrance seeped into the nearest ice sculpture. Subsequently, Tang Ao shockingly discovered that when his soul remembrance touched the ice, his soul remembrance was instantly frozen into nothingness. Moreover, a terrifying cold aura suddenly came back, as if it wanted to freeze Tang Ao into an ice sculpture. Chapter 2708. Now that Tang Ao had the complete Fire Dao Law and half of the Thunder Dao Law, if he could obtain the Ice Dao Law here, then Tang Ao's luck would be heaven-defying. After learning about the 9 worldly laws formed by the Eternal Dao Fruit, Tang Ao also wanted to find the 9 worldly laws and reconstruct the Eternal Dao Fruit. However, although Tang Ao had this idea, he had no direction at all. Firstly, Tang Ao didn't know where the other worldly laws were. Secondly, those who fought for the Eternal Dao Fruit were all Divine King-level powerhouses. Even if Tang Ao could obtain the scattered worldly laws, did Tang Ao have the ability to ask the Divine King-level powerhouses for the worldly laws? Tang Ao could only say that even if a chaotic Heaven Realm powerhouse came, Tang Ao could only run for his life if he didn't have the Divine Thunder Bead, let alone a Divine King-level powerhouse. After Bai Shihan came in, she directly walked into the depths of the palace as if she didn't see the surrounding ice sculptures. Tang Ao's figure flashed, and he instantly followed Bai Shihan. After a while, Tang Ao saw a frost jade bed not far away, and a woman was sleeping on it. This woman wasn't frozen, but her aura was extremely weak. If Tang Ao hadn't used the sky polar eyes to see that her life was still burning, Tang Ao wouldn't have believed that this woman was still alive. Tang Ao had seen many weak martialists after being injured, But this was the first time Tang Ao had seen a martialist this weak. Although this woman was so weak that she could die at any time, Tang Ao was shocked when he sensed this woman's cultivation. This was because, according to Tang Ao's perception, this woman's cultivation was actually not much weaker than Cain's. One had to know that blood demon Cain was a demigod powerhouse, so obviously this woman who was so weak that she could die at any time was also a demigod powerhouse. Something's not right. After careful observation, Tang Ao noticed something unusual. If there were so many demigod experts, then there would be no Tao venerable experts in the true force realm. Under the probing of Tang Ao's sky-polar eyes, Tang Ao discovered that the woman's cultivation undulations actually came from a powerful primordial spirit and an azure aura. After seeing this azure aura, Tang Ao's heart beat wildly. There was a fire Tao law and half a thunder Tao law in Tang Ao's body. How could Tang Ao not know that the azure aura in this lady's body was the ice Tao law that he had been longing for? Although these Tao laws were like masters in Tang Ao's body, and Tang Ao couldn't command them at all, these Tao laws were existences that even God King experts coveted. At this time, as long as Tang Ao was willing, Tang Ao could snatch it at any time. Bai Shihan was only at the 9th stage life and death realm, so how could he be a match for Tang Ao? However, although Tang Ao wanted the ice Tao law, Tang Ao definitely wasn't someone who would be tempted by wealth. Even if he wanted it, if the ice Tao law already had an owner, as long as the other party didn't make an enemy out of him, Tang Ao wouldn't kill and snatch it. The path of cultivation indeed required competition, hard work, and sometimes even risking one's life. However, this didn't mean that a martialist could do whatever he wanted in order to become stronger. Chapter 2709. Sister. Bai Shihan hugged Bai Shiming when she saw the woman crying. Sister, it's all my fault. If I hadn't released that demon, things wouldn't have turned out this way. Bai Shiming's eyes were filled with self-blame, as if she had sunk into painful memories. Sister, it's not your fault. It's all those bastards from the celestial wolf race. If they hadn't harbored ill intentions towards us, I wouldn't have accidentally opened the ice seal. Bai Shihan looked young, but the winged race and the dragon turtle race were very similar in that they both had long lifespans. Although Bai Shihan was a reincarnated body, she still remembered her previous life's memories. Back then, the winged race and the jade rabbit race had fought against the celestial wolf race for the frost Tao law. As a result, the winged race and the jade rabbit race were naturally no match for the celestial wolf race. However, when the winged race and the jade rabbit race joined forces, the celestial wolf race couldn't do anything to them. In order to preserve their strength, the three races came up with a very bold idea. It was to marry the three races. The jade rabbit race, the winged race, and the celestial wolf race were all powerful races with ancient bloodlines. There were two situations in which an ancient bloodline could explode with a powerful bloodline advantage. One was the purity of the bloodline. The purer the bloodline, the greater the potential of the warrior. The other was the fusion of bloodline advantages. When two warriors with ancient bloodlines fused, it was possible to give birth to a warrior with two bloodline advantages. Such warriors usually had bloodline conflicts, and their bloodline power might be slightly weaker than pure-blooded descendant. However, there were exceptions. There were some special existences that had no bloodline conflict. Instead, they had the advantage of 2 or even 3 bloodlines. Back then, the celestial wolf race had waited for 2 generations of warriors to no avail. They believed that the ordinary clansman's bloodline was not pure enough, and they couldn't make use of their advantages after the fusion. It was even more impossible for a new race to inherit the Frost Tao law and rule over the 3 races. Thus, the celestial wolf race targeted the Bai sisters, who had pure bloodlines. In a moment of desperation, Bai Shiming had accidentally broken through the ice seal that the winged race had been guarding and released the ice demon soul. As a result, more than half of the 3 races were slaughtered by the Frost Devil Soul. The frozen clansmen were all killed by the Frost Devil Soul. In the end, Bai Shiming sealed the Frost Devil Soul within her body, and a portion of the 3 clans escaped from this place. Tang Ao did not know about the grudges between the 3 ancient clans. At that moment, Tang Ao was secretly sizing up the palace. Just now, Tang Ao had seen that the surrounding frozen warriors had not completely died. However, even though they were not dead, because too much time had passed, even their souls had been completely frozen. Therefore, in Tang Ao's opinion, Tang Ao did not have any means to save these warriors. Unless the woman on the bed could completely fuse with the Ice Dao Law, or an extremely powerful expert who was proficient in the power of ice could remove the power of ice without harming these people's souls. However, Tang Ao also knew that both of these conditions were extremely difficult. Little sister, have you found the divine blood descendants of the 3 clans? After talking for a while, the woman on the bed seemed to have thought of something and immediately asked. Chapter 27:10. Sister, I've already found the Jade Rabbit race, and the Wings race can use my blood. However, I couldn't find the Sky Wolf race. It's as if the Sky Wolf race's descendants have been completely wiped out in the Unbounded Desolation region. I've searched deep into the Unbounded Desolation region before, but I was almost caught by a powerful expert. Even now, my injuries haven't completely healed. Hearing Bai Shihan's words, Tang Ao could see a trace of disappointment flash through Bai Shiming's eyes. Although it was very subtle, Tang Ao still saw it clearly. Although Tang Ao didn't know why Bai Shiming was looking for the 3 races' descendants, Tang Ao was sure that it was not something good. Bai Shiming's words were filled with endless remorse, as if opening the Ice Dao Law back then was a very regretful decision. But now, Tang Ao realized that Bai Shiming was really regretting her words, and Tang Ao couldn't see a trace of regret in her eyes. Good sister, I don't have much time left. Is there something you need from me this time? Hearing that Bai Shihan had only found the Jade Rabbit race's descendants after so many years, and not the Sky Wolf race's descendants, Bai Shiming was already very dissatisfied. However, she still patiently asked why Bai Shihan had suddenly come to the 3 ancestor Holy Land. Sister, it's like this. There's a group of ordinary people on the 1,000-feather snow mountain, but this time they might be unlucky. If I'm not wrong, there might be an astral-reaching realm warrior coming to the 1,000-feather snow mountain soon. I hope you can activate the 3 gods' ancient formation to kill this astral-reaching realm warrior. Tang Ao, who was not far away, was shocked when he heard the words ancient 3 gods formation. Tang Ao originally thought that the ancient formation that enveloped the 1,000-feather snow mountain was just an ordinary formation. However, Tang Ao never expected that the formation surrounding the 1,000-feather snow mountain was not a defensive formation, but the famous ancient killing formation, the ancient 3 gods formation. According to Tang Ao's understanding, if the 3 gods' ancient formation was fully activated, it could even kill a Dao sovereign. Using the 3 gods' ancient formation to deal with the Ice Tiger City warriors was like killing a chicken with a butcher's knife. When Tang Ao thought that Bai Shihan had come to this place at night for the sake of Qianyu village, he had a good impression of Bai Shihan. Although Bai Shihan did not know what Bai Shiming wanted to do, Bai Shihan's heart was clearly kind. But after Bai Shihan finished speaking, Tang Ao saw that Bai Shiming's eyes immediately turned cold. Obviously, she wasn't willing to activate the 3 gods' ancient formation to help the Qianyu village. However, Bai Shiming didn't say anything. Instead, her body swayed and she held her forehead. Bai Shihan was very anxious when she saw this. Little sister, I really want to help you, but I'm afraid that I won't be able to activate the 3 gods' ancient formation in my current condition. How about this? Tell these mortals to leave this place as soon as possible. Bai Shiming's voice became softer and softer as she spoke, and in the end, she completely fainted and her life force instantly dissipated. Tang Ao looked at this woman and secretly sighed in his heart. It wasn't that Tang Ao hadn't seen people who were hypocritical. However, this Bai Shiming in front of him had really gone to the extreme. When Bai Shihan saw that Bai Shiming had fainted, she also put Bai Shiming's body back and helplessly left the place. Chapter 27:11. Right now, Bai Shihan could only hope that the city leader of the Ice Tiger City wouldn't come after Tang Ao's provocation, and would only send ordinary martial artists. Then, Bai Shihan would be able to play the same trick again. However, if the city leader of the Ice Tiger City came in person, it would mean the end of the Thousand Feather Village. This time, Tang Ao didn't leave with Bai Shihan. Tang Ao had left a formation pattern mark outside the Three Ancestor Holy Land. Even if the space was sealed, Tang Ao could still use his Thunder Shadow Phantom body to leave. After Bai Shihan left, Tang Ao saw that Bai Shiming, who had fainted a moment ago, had woken up again. Moreover, what made Tang Ao's eyes open wide was that Bai Shiming didn't seem to be weak at all. Although her aura wasn't that of a demigod, she was still at the peak of 9th-level astral reaching realm. Moreover, a spatial fluctuation came out from under the bed, and a man with a strand of white hair on his forehead and 3 claw marks on his forehead slowly appeared. After this man appeared, he immediately hugged Bai Shiming, and Bai Shiming also conveniently snuggled into his embrace. Without even thinking, Tang Ao understood that this man was the so-called descendant of the Sky Wolf tribe. Big Brother Yun, my good sister hasn't found the sacred blood descendant of your Sky Wolf clan. Even if we sacrifice her and a descendant of the Jade Rabbit clan, we still won't be able to open the soul-binding lock on us. When the time comes, we still won't be able to leave this place, Bai Shiming said as she nestled in the arms of the young man from the Sky Wolf clan. This trash. Although we sacrificed more than half of the 3 tribes, many of them still managed to escape. After so many years, she only managed to find a Jade Rabbit tribe's Saint Blood descendant. There's no news of the Sky Wolf tribe's Saint Blood descendant at all. Yunmie's eyes were filled with darkness. If it weren't for the fact that he needed Bai Shihan to continue searching for the Sky Wolf tribe's Saint Blood descendant, he would have already sacrificed her. Outside the Three Ancestor Sacred Land, Bai Shihan's eyes were filled with tears. In front of Bai Shihan was an image projected by Tang Ao's mirror array. Beside Bai Shihan was Tang Ao's psyche clone. When she saw Tang Ao use a soul remembrance clone to restrain her, Bai Shihan thought she had encountered a powerful enemy. However, after seeing the scene in Three Ancestor Sacred Land and hearing her sister and Yunmie's conversation, if her body wasn't restrained by Tang Ao, Bai Shihan really wanted to charge in and ask Bai Shiming. From their conversation just now, how could Bai Shihan not know that what happened back then was actually a plot by this adulterous couple? Bai Shihan couldn't imagine that her gentle and virtuous sister would become so unfamiliar. For the sake of the so-called Ice Dao Law, they actually slaughtered more than half of their own clansmen. Even he himself had been used all this time. When her sister had asked her to find the 3 tribes' bloodline descendants, Bai Shihan had been very puzzled. She didn't know why she needed to find the 3 tribes' bloodline descendants. Now Bai Shihan completely understood. When the adulterous couple had attacked the 3 tribes' clansmen, the patriarchs had sensed it and used the forbidden soul lock to lock the 2 of them here. In order to break the forbidden soul lock, the 3 tribes' Saint Blood descendants had to sacrifice all their blood essence. Chapter 27:12. At this moment, Bai Shihan was disheartened. If she could control the 3 gods' ancient formation, Bai Shihan would only want to activate it and kill this adulterous couple to avenge her dead parents and clansmen. Big Brother Yun, don't be angry. Even though we've been trapped here for 1,000 years, aren't we still able to live together? Furthermore, you've merged with the Frost Demon Soul, and I have the Frost Tao Law. As long as my good younger sister can find the descendants of the three races' sacred blood, we'll definitely be able to reach the pinnacle of the martial path after we leave this place. We'll reach heights that no one has ever reached before. Bai Shiming did not feel ashamed for using her biological sister. Instead, she was proud of herself for obtaining the Ice Tao Law and had boundless expectations for the future. She had never imagined how cruel she would be to her own sister and her own clansmen while she was filled with boundless expectations. Back then, because the Jade Rabbit race and the Winged race were weak, we let many of them go out of kindness, so it was very easy to find their sacred blood descendants. But the warriors of the Heavenly Wolf clan are too strong, and some of their clansmen know about us. I'm afraid that this matter will be leaked. I've killed almost 90% of the Celestial Wolf clan. If she really can't find the sacred blood descendant of the Celestial Wolf clan, things will be troublesome. Yunmie's expression was very ugly. In the past, Yunmie and Bai Shiming had basically sacrificed the three clans to the Ice Devil Soul, which was why Yunmie had the opportunity to fuse with the Ice Devil Soul. However, Yunmie did not expect that the old man from the Tian Lang clan would plant a soul-binding lock on them before he died, making it impossible for them to leave this place. Just as Yunmie and Bai Shiming were frowning, Tang Ao's voice rang out, "There's no need to search for the sacred blood descendant of the Tian Lang tribe." "Who's there?" Yunmie was shocked and turned to look. Yunmie and Bai Shiming were shocked when they saw Tang Ao's figure appear. Neither of them expected that Bai Shihan would not come alone this time. "Big brother Yun, it turns out that this little bitch discovered our intentions and actually found a wild man to deal with us." Bai Shiming's eyes flashed fiercely when she saw Tang Ao, and she spoke rudely. "Don't compare yourself to your sister. Even I am surprised by the filth in your heart. I really didn't think that a person could be so vicious." Tang Ao shook his head. Although Bai Shiming and this Yunmie were both peak level 9 astral reaching realm warriors, Tang Ao was not afraid at all. Tang Ao's sudden appearance had indeed startled Bai Shiming and Yunmie. But, when they realized that Tang Ao only had the vibration of astral reaching realm level 6, they both revealed a mocking smile. With a leap, Yunmie arrived in front of Tang Ao. Yunmie's cruel eyes swept over Tang Ao's body, then he said, "Tell me, boy, how do you want to die?" "Big brother Yun, don't kill him yet. He just said that he seems to have news about the sacred blood descendants of the Sky Wolf race." Bai Shiming also arrived next to Yunmie. Just now, Tang Ao's sudden appearance had startled the two. Only now did Bai Shiming remember that Tang Ao had just said something very important. Yunmie's eyes were also filled with joy as he looked at Tang Ao and asked, "You really have news about the Sky Wolf race's sacred blood descendants? If what you said is true, not only will I not kill you, I will even grant you a soul seed and make you my soul slave. Once you become my soul slave, you will instantly reach astral reaching realm level 9. In the future, as long as I make a breakthrough, you will be able to as well." Yunmie tried to make his tone as gentle as possible as he tried to persuade Yi Chun. Chapter 27:13. You're courting death. Hearing Tang Ao's words, Yunmie flew into a rage and raised his hand, intending to kill Tang Ao on the spot. However, he was stopped by Bai Shiming, who looked at Tang Ao with a sneer and said, "Brother Yun, he must think that we want to kill him and that he won't be able to live. That's why he's taking advantage of us with words." After saying that, Bai Shiming looked at Tang Ao and said, "Don't worry. Although Big Brother Yun and I aren't good people, if you can bring the sacred blood descendant of the Heavenly Wolf race here, not only will we not kill you, but we will also give you a lot of benefits. If you don't want the soul seed, we can even give you a Dao fruit." Tang Ao originally didn't want to waste so much words with these two. However, after hearing about the Dao fruit, Tang Ao immediately resisted the urge to attack. Although Tang Ao's goal was the eternal Tao fruit, every Tao fruit in the world was extremely precious. Ever since Tang Ao started cultivating, he had only seen a Tao fruit once in the desolate martial realm. From this, it could be seen how rare Tao fruits were in the world. You really have a Tao fruit? Show me the Tao fruit. After I see it, I'll immediately tell you about the sacred blood descendant of the Sky Wolf clan. You don't need to worry about me running away. In front of 2 9th-level astral-reaching realm warriors, I won't be able to escape. Tang Ao knew that pretending to be frightened at this moment wouldn't work. After all, Tang Ao wasn't afraid of these two from the beginning. If he acted scared now, he would only be deceiving himself. Hearing Tang Ao's words, Yunmia hesitated for a moment, then said, "I don't think you dare to play any tricks." After saying these words, Yunmia locked onto Tang Ao's body with his powerful soul remembrance, firmly binding Tang Ao. He then nodded towards Bai Shimeng. Bai Shimeng chuckled and waved her hand, causing a jade box to appear in her hand. Opening the jade box, Bai Shimeng found that there was indeed a Tao fruit inside. Moreover, this Tao fruit was very familiar to Tang Ao. Back in the desolate martial realm, Tang Ao had seen 2 chaotic heaven realm experts fighting over this Tao fruit. At this moment, a cold ice Tao fruit was quietly lying in the jade box. "Many thanks." After saying these 2 words, Tang Ao instantly used Thunder Shadow Phantom. Then, under Bai Shimeng and Yunmia's astonished gazes, Tang Ao's figure suddenly disappeared. Before Bai Shimeng could put away the ice Tao fruit, Bai Shimeng felt her hand become empty. Then, the jade box in Bai Shimeng's hand was in Tang Ao's. Seeing Ao's strange movement, Yun didn't show any politeness. A several 100-meter-long claw light abruptly shot towards Tang Ao. This claw art was not only a technique, but it Mia Tian's king. From Yun Ao. The moment they appeared, 3 pitch-black spatial cracks appeared in the space where Tang Ao was. Tang Ao was shocked. These 2 were really strong to be able to slaughter an entire clan. Tang Ao reckoned that he would be torn to pieces even if he used his Vajra embodiment against such an attack. As Yunmia's claw light swept towards him again, Tang Ao suddenly took out his monster-slaying axe and swung it down furiously. An axe blade blasted out and collided with Yunmia's claw light. Tang Ao's axe blade only lasted for a moment before it was torn apart by Yunmia's claw light. At this moment, Tang Ao swung his axe several times in a row to barely offset Yunmia's claw light. Yunmia's figure also arrived behind Tang Ao. With a sneer, Yunmia clapped his hands down cruelly. 600-meter-long claw lights instantly swept through the space. The ice sculptures in the 3 ancestor Holy Land were instantly shattered by Yunmia's claw light, and an intense spatial storm appeared in the entire space. After a while, when everything calmed down, Yunmia looked around and saw that Tang Ao was nowhere to be seen. "Ha ha ha, Shimeng, this kid has already been torn to pieces by the spatial storm." Yunmia laughed when he saw that Tang Ao's corpse was no longer there. "Big brother Yun, be careful behind you." Just as Yunmia was feeling pleased with himself, Tang Ao's figure appeared on Yunmia's hand like a ghost. Countless lightning palm prints appeared around Tang Ao, and a terrifying power surged from Tang Ao's body. "Thunderbolt 1000 hand print." As Tang Ao shouted, thousands of hand prints instantly merged into one. A shocking, violent, and overbearing power spread in all directions. The surrounding space cracked like a spider web. Sky Wolf Howling Moon. Facing this attack from Tang Ao, Yunmia didn't dare to be careless. Both of his hands formed a seal, and an earth-shaking half-moon silver light bombarded toward Tang Ao, clashing with Tang Ao's Thunderbolt 1000 hand print. Suddenly, a terrifying immortal spiritual power exploded, and a destructive aura filled every corner of the 3 ancestor Holy Land. At this moment, the remaining ice sculptures had completely turned into ice shards on the ground. Under this terrifying power, the ice shards had even turned into ashes. Yunmie's eyes seemed as if they were about to pop out. He couldn't imagine how a 6th-level astral-reaching realm warrior could fight against him, who had fused with the ice demon soul. Chapter 27:14. I don't believe a mere 6th-level astral-reaching realm can overturn the heavens. Yunmie's expression was cold as an ancient rune appeared on his forehead. Instantly, Yunmie's body started transforming. At the start, Yunmie was in the form of a human. But right now, he was in the form of a half-human, half-demon. Right now, Yunmie looked just like a wolf demon in human form. Not bad. When Tang Ao was in the desolate martial realm, he had battled with the geniuses of the blood race. Even peak astral-reaching realm blood race warriors were crushed by Tang Ao. However, this Yunmie, with a cultivation base of 9th-level astral-reaching realm, was actually able to fight evenly with him. This made Tang Ao's battle intent rise in his heart. While Tang Ao's battle intent was rising, Yunmie was simply about to cough up blood. After fusing with the ice demon soul, Yunmie had even managed to kill the Yin-Yang stage experts of the 3 ancient clans head-on. When the ice demon soul erupted with its full power, Yunmie had even managed to suppress the chaotic heavenly stage experts of the 3 ancient clans. Yunmie originally thought that after thoroughly fusing with the ice demon soul, even if he wasn't invincible within the same realm, it would be rare for him to meet a worthy opponent within the same realm. However, he had never thought that this Tang Ao, with a cultivation base of 6th-level astral-reaching realm, would be able to confront him head-on. Was it really because he had been trapped in the 3 ancestor Holy Land for too long that the outside world had changed? Otherwise, how could a mere 6th-level astral-reaching realm warrior be this powerful? With a sword cry, 7 cyan lights suddenly appeared behind Tang Ao. The 7 rays of green light were 7 long swords. As Tang Ao waved his hand, the 7 green lotus swords immediately flew towards Yunmie as if they were his own arms. However, this time, Bai Shiming didn't choose to stand by and watch. As she formed hand seals, countless ice power spread out in all directions. There was even a palm print condensed from ice power that bombarded towards Tang Ao. Tang Ao didn't dare to be careless. He instantly summoned the 4th grade immortal flame, Netherworld Flame, which turned into a flame curtain and clashed with the ice palm print. At the instant of the collision, a terrifying force spread out and a series of violent explosions exploded in the 3 ancestors' sacred ground. Even the space shook a little. Outside the 3 ancestors' sacred ground, Bai Shihan watched anxiously as Tang Ao fought 1 against 2, but there was nothing she could do. Now that Tang Ao had seen through Bai Shiming and Yunmie's plot, the 2 of them definitely wouldn't let Tang Ao off. Although Bai Shihan was also surprised by Tang Ao's strength, she did not believe that Tang Ao could defeat Yunmie and Yunmie by himself. One of them had devoured the Ice Devil Soul, while the other had merged with the Ice Tao Law. Moreover, both of them were at the 9th level of the astral-reaching realm. This kind of battle would be very threatening for Tang Ao. Originally, Yunmie and Bai Shiming thought that if they joined hands, they would be able to take down Tang Ao in an instant. However, after Bai Shiming joined in, Bai Shiming could clearly feel how powerful Tang Ao was. Yunmie was gradually losing the upper hand against Tang Ao, not because he was trash, but because Tang Ao was too monstrous. Although Tang Ao's strength was beyond their imagination, the 2 still decided to keep Tang Ao in this place forever. Chapter 27:15. Tao fruits were only used by celestial chaos realm powerhouses to comprehend the Tao Master Realm or Tao Master Realm powerhouses to break through to the Divine King Realm. However, as long as they could obtain heaven and earth Tao laws, warriors of any realm could use them to comprehend deeper martial arts realms and strengthen their spells and abilities. Tang Ao had 2 heaven and earth Tao laws in his body. Because Tang Ao did not know how to use them, Tang Ao could only guard a treasure mountain empty-handed. As for those ancient clans that had been passed down since ancient times, they had a very clear understanding of Dao fruits and heaven and earth Dao laws. With a heaven and earth Dao law or a Dao fruit in their hands, it was basically certain that their clan would definitely produce a Dao master or even a divine king realm powerhouse in the near future. However, Tang Ao came from a low-level dimension. Although he had joined the Chamber of Immortal Ruins, Tang Ao had never studied systematically. Originally, the Chamber of Immortal Ruins had arranged for everyone to cultivate in the Dao Seeking Academy and the Nanli Dao Palace to make up for their shortcomings. However, Tang Ao's achievements in the desolate martial realm were too outstanding, so the Chamber of Immortal Ruins had allowed Tang Ao to cultivate confidently. Tang Ao was shocked when he saw that Bai Shimeng could use the Ice Dao Law against him. When the flame curtain formed by the Netherworld fire collided with Bai Shimeng's ice hand, Tang Ao was shocked to see that the Netherworld fire was slowly freezing. Tang Ao's heart thumped wildly when he saw this. The Netherworld fire was a fourth-grade immortal flame that could even burn a Yin-Yang realm powerhouse into ashes. The Grade 4 Nether Flame was also one of Tang Ao's strongest trump cards. However, the Nether Flame was actually frozen by Bai Shimeng's Ice Dao Law. A moment later, Tang Ao's expression changed drastically. After the Ice Dao Law completely froze the Netherworld fire, the connection between Tang Ao and the Netherworld fire was directly cut off. Tang Ao felt a stabbing pain in his soul sea. Tang Ao could even feel traces of cold air penetrating his soul sea. So powerful! Tang Ao shot out several thunder swords from his hands, striking at the ice that was sealing the Netherworld fire. Seeing Tang Ao's actions, a trace of ridicule flashed in Bai Shimeng's eyes. An astral-reaching realm warrior who had learned the natural laws and an astral-reaching realm warrior who had not learned the natural laws were worlds apart. Although Tang Ao's spells were powerful and aggressive, it was only a thunder spell, which contained a slight trace of natural laws. This wasn't because Tang Ao had come into contact with the ancient laws of lightning. Instead, it was because the heavenly lightning Dao technique itself was a technique that contained the power of the laws. Of course, Nine Heavens Remembrance knew about the rules of heaven and earth. However, Nine Heavens Remembrance did not explain this to Tang Ao in detail. When it came to cultivation, Nine Heavens Remembrance had a different view. In the path of cultivation, hard work and opportunities were very important. However, in remembrance of the Nine Firmament's opinion, other than hard work and hard cultivation, there were also various opportunities and insights that were equally important. When a warrior cultivated to a certain level, if he could not even comprehend the laws of heaven and earth, then even if he continued to advance with the help of the experiences of his predecessors, his final achievements would still be limited. Although 5 of Nine Heavens Remembrance's 7 great disciples were traitors, one had to admit that under Nine Heavens Remembrance's training method, they were all terrifyingly powerful. Currently, the strongest among them was the Sky Martial Realm Lord, who was already a peak 9th grade Dao Sovereign. Although Lei Tianwu was secretly bewitched and had a bad character, he had also walked his own path under Nine Heavens Remembrance's guidance. Chapter 27:16. Tang Ao had fought many astral-reaching realm martial artists and some yin-yang realm martial artists. There were some special ones among these martial artists, but Tang Ao didn't have a clear feeling about them. At this moment, Tang Ao didn't know if it was because of the 3 ancestor Holy Land, or because of Yunmia and Bai Shimeng's special technique. At this moment, Tang Ao could clearly feel a special power in the heaven and earth. This power interweaved everywhere, as if it formed the whole world. This is the nomological law. At this moment, Tang Ao suddenly realized something. The so-called Dao Law was the embodiment of the heaven and earth's laws. With Dao Law, one could feel the power of the heaven and earth's laws more easily and use stronger technique. The doubts that Tang Ao had when he saw 9 heavens thought using 9 heavens 9 thunder, E9 thunder, and even the 9 revolutions demonic thunder, suddenly disappeared. So that's how it is. After thoroughly understanding it, Tang Ao realized that the reason why the 2 Tao laws in his body couldn't be used was not because the Tao laws didn't recognize him, but because he didn't know how to use them. At this moment, Tang Ao's mind was immersed in the Tao law of fire. This time, Tang Ao didn't want to borrow the power of the Tao law of fire, nor did he want to refine the Tao law of fire. Tang Ao vaguely felt a mysterious array. This array was too mysterious. Even with Tang Ao's standard as a grade 4 immortal array master, he couldn't see through the tip of the iceberg. Under the enlightenment, Tang Ao only felt a trace of the mysterious aura. However, it was this trace of mysterious aura that made Tang Ao's body shake. Enlightenment during a battle was very dangerous. If one's mind was completely immersed in enlightenment, they wouldn't even know how they died. If there were too many distracting thoughts in one's mind, one wouldn't be able to gain any enlightenment. However, under the enlightenment, Tang Ao still gained something. At this moment, a brand new door opened in front of Tang Ao. Under Tang Ao's immortal Yuan energy, the netherworld flame, which he had lost contact with before, once again leaped up and blossomed with a terrifying temperature. At this moment, the grade 4 immortal flame finally revealed its true power. A terrifying aura that seemed as though it wanted to incinerate the heaven and earth swept out. The ice that sealed the nether flame was instantly filled with countless cracks. Before Tang Ao's lightning sword could strike it, the ice had already shattered. The ridicule in Bai Shiming and Yunmie's eyes turned into fear. It was not that the two of them had never seen genius cultivators before. In fact, Bai Shiming and Yunmie had been the peak geniuses of the 3 ancient clans. But for a cultivator like Tang Ao who could comprehend the power of laws in battle, even if Tang Ao had only comprehended a trace of the power of laws, it still shocked Yunmie and Bai Shiming. They only had the form, but not the spirit. Tang Ao could only display less than 30% of the original might of the technique. However, after comprehending the power of laws for a period of time, Tang Ao would be able to fuse the body and soul of his technique. However, after Tang Ao comprehended the power of laws, as long as he comprehended for a period of time, Tang Ao's techniques would become one with the body and soul. At that time, Tang Ao would be frightening to a whole new level. The techniques Tang Ao used at the beginning didn't contain the power of laws, which meant that Tang Ao was an ordinary wandering cultivator with shallow foundations. Even after cultivating to the astral reaching realm, he didn't know the existence of the power of laws. But now, when Tang Ao controlled the netherworld flame, it clearly erupted with a trace of the power of fire attribute laws. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for Tang Ao to break her ice. Chapter 27:17. After Tang Ao comprehended the power of laws, a series of cracking sounds came from his body. These sounds seemed to be the shackles that shrouded Tang Ao's body. At this moment, these sounds were like the shackles that shrouded Tang Ao's body were shattering. Tang Ao was a peak astral reaching realm 9th level martial artist in his previous life. After cultivating to the peak, Tang Ao could already vaguely feel that if he wanted to climb to a higher realm, he was missing something. It was just that the rules of heaven and earth in the black-yellow continent were chaotic, so Tang Ao didn't understand it until now. But now, Tang Ao finally understood that the gap between astral-reaching realm martial artists and yin-yang realm martial artists was not the perception of the immortal spiritual power within one's body, nor was it the grade of magical arts. Instead, if an astral-reaching realm martial artist wanted to become a yin-yang realm martial artist, no matter how strong or weak they were, they had to understand at least one kind of law of heaven and earth. Only then could they form their own Tao and surpass the shackles of astral-reaching realm and reach the yin-yang realm. Streams of mysterious aura surrounded Tang Ao, and the rich immortal spiritual power within the three ancestor holy land crazily gushed towards Tang Ao. Tang Ao's expression immediately changed, because Tang Ao knew that although the immortal spiritual power here was terrifyingly rich, it contained a kind of aura that could corrode one's life force. However, Tang Ao soon discovered that the gray aura that he had been so secretive about was actually a kind of time law. And the reason why his life force was rapidly flowing away was because Tang Ao didn't understand the power of time law. Even if Tang Ao had the unique Nine Dragons Emperor Jade body, even if Tang Ao was naturally talented, at this moment, Tang Ao didn't have the ability to understand the power of time law. Ever since Tang Ao started cultivating, it could be said that he had never come in contact with spells or treasures related to the power of time law. When Yunmie and Bai Shimeng saw Tang Ao's cultivation increase from astral reaching realm level 6 to astral reaching realm level 7, their eyeballs almost popped out. But, seeing Tang Ao crazily absorbing the surrounding immortal spirit power to increase his cultivation, neither of them did anything. Because of the existence of a special treasure in the three ancestor sacred ground, even though the immortal spiritual energy was extremely dense, it could not be absorbed like Tang Ao. Sure enough, just as the two of them had this thought, Tang Ao's black hair instantly turned white, and it didn't stop there. A moment later, the white hair turned into a withered white. There was even an aura of decay on Tang Ao's body. At this moment, Tang Ao could feel his life force rapidly flowing away and his body rapidly decaying. Tang Ao was extremely anxious. Tang Ao wasn't willing to absorb the immortal spiritual energy from the heaven and earth at all. At this moment, he was completely shocked, and his cultivation level increased by leaps and bounds. If Tang Ao was a martial artist proficient in the power of time law, then this would be Tang Ao's opportunity. But, Tang Ao didn't understand the power of time law at all. Naturally, Tang Ao didn't have the fortune to enjoy this opportunity. Although the Jade Bone Vitality Life Soul frantically released its vitality to replenish Tang Ao's lost vitality, the speed at which Tang Ao's vitality was draining was just too fast. The Jade Bone Vitality Life Soul was like a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood. A bitter smile appeared on Tang Ao's face. Tang Ao really didn't expect that he would play himself to death in the end. Chapter 27:18. At this point, even if Tang Ao didn't believe that he could comprehend the time law, he could only give it a try. Tang Ao's mind was completely immersed in the grayish-white aura that exuded profound fluctuations. This grayish-white aura contained the surging power of the time law. It was because of this grayish-white aura that the flow of time in Tang Ao's body felt like thousands of years in Tang Ao's body. This feeling. When Tang Ao's mind was completely immersed in the grayish-white aura, Tang Ao's face lit up with joy. Tang Ao had indeed not cultivated any techniques that contained the time law, and Tang Ao did not possess any treasures that contained the time law. However, Tang Ao had cultivated for 1,000 years in Pill Sage Green Rock's space-time mystic realm. Now that he came into contact with this grayish-white aura, Tang Ao immediately felt a sense of familiarity. At this moment, Tang Ao could not use the power of the time law, nor could he make it dissipate. However, Tang Ao could keep the grayish-white aura out of his body. A thunderous roar suddenly erupted from the Nine Dragons Emperor's jade body. Immediately after, the power of the time law that was wreaking havoc in Tang Ao's body suddenly came to a halt and was slowly guided out of his body by Tang Ao. Seeing the aura of decay and decay continuously being released from Tang Ao's body, not only did Yunmie and Bai Shimeng not kill Tang Ao, but they even enjoyed watching the process of Tang Ao being corroded to death by the power of the time law from afar. Big Brother Yun, how much longer do you think this kid can last? Bai Shimeng looked at the distant Tang Ao with a mocking expression. The immortal spiritual energy in the three ancestor sacred land was not that easy to absorb and refine. I think he can last for 30 breaths of time at most. This person must have many secrets on him. He was able to immediately comprehend the nomological power contained in the techniques that we used. If he wasn't corroded by the power of the law of time, I would be very interested in his body. Yunmia looked at Tang Ao with disdain. He thought that a fierce battle was about to break out, but in the end Tang Ao was courting death by recklessly absorbing the dense immortal spiritual energy in the three ancestor sacred ground. Buzz! However, right at this moment, Tang Ao, who was on the verge of death, suddenly opened his eyes. After Tang Ao had absorbed 30% of the immortal spirit power from the three ancestor Holy Land, Tang Ao's cultivation base had also reached the 8th level of the astral reaching realm. Moments later, it was the 9th level, and it didn't stop there. Only when he reached the peak of the 9th level of the astral reaching realm did Tang Ao completely suppress the absorption of the immortal spirit power. At the same time, the power of the time law within his body was also completely expelled by Tang Ao. Tang Ao's hair was still gray, and Tang Ao's appearance was also extremely old. His hands were dry and powerless, as if he was past his prime. However, Tang Ao's eyes, which were originally filled with vicissitudes of life, suddenly lit up. Then, Yunmia and Bai Shimeng were shocked to see that Tang Ao, who should have been corroded by the power of the time law, was actually emitting a powerful aura of life. Tang Ao formed a seal with both of his hands, and thousands of palm prints instantly appeared around his body. As Tang Ao integrated the power of the fire law, the 1,000-hand prints immediately flickered with a blazing flame aura. Chapter 27:19. Although Yunmia and Bai Shimeng were shocked that Tang Ao was still alive under the corrosion of the time law, their movements were not slow in the slightest. This time, an ice shadow flew out from Yunmia's glabella. This ice shadow was a soul. The original form of this soul should be some kind of demon race. After it appeared, it roared and raised the long spear in its hand, attacking toward Tang Ao's sky-burning 1,000-hand print. The moment the collision happened, the ice demon soul was directly hit in the chest by the sky-burning 1,000-hand print. Then, the ice demon soul turned illusory and flew back into Yunmia's forehead. Before, Tang Ao was at the 6th level of astral reaching realm, and even Yunmia couldn't do anything to Tang Ao. Now that Tang Ao had reached the 9th level of astral reaching realm, how could Yunmia block Tang Ao? Tang Ao also understood that although his sky-burning 1,000-hand print was powerful, it was still a lot weaker than Yunmia's ice demon soul. However, the advantages that Tang Ao had accumulated since he started cultivating had finally revealed itself at this moment. Every time Tang Ao cultivated, he would consume dozens of times more immortal crystals than other martial geniuses of the same generation. The immortal spirit power inside Tang Ao's body was much more refined and dense than other martial geniuses of the same generation. Adding on Tang Ao's great desolation immortal body Yuan body, the advantage of the 9-dragon Emperor Jade body, and the trace of fire law power that he had already comprehended from the fire Tao, how could Yunmia resist it? After Tang Ao's palm attack pushed back the ice demon soul, it landed on Yunmia's chest. More than half of Yunmia's bones were instantly broken, and a horrified expression appeared on his face. Yunmia was about to let Bai Shimeng use the Ice Tao Law to help him explode with more power from the Ice Demon Soul when he felt a pain in his heart. Bitch you! Yunmia's eyes were filled with disbelief. At this moment, a golden awl pierced through his heart from the back and came out from the front. This golden awl had mysterious rune patterns on it, and as Yunmia's heart blood flowed out, the golden awl shone brightly. An invisible shackle on Bai Shimeng's body suddenly shattered, and Bai Shimeng's face lit up with joy. Big Brother Yun, there are a total of 2 golden soul-crushing awls in the treasury. When you took one of them back then, you should have expected this outcome. The soul-forbidding lock has locked both of us. Apart from the descendants of the 3 clans' sacred blood, only this method can break it. If I didn't make the first move, I'm afraid that the soul-breaker golden awl in your hand would have pierced my heart." Hearing Bai Shiming's words, Yunmia suddenly burst into laughter. However, his immortal spiritual force and soul force were all absorbed by the soul-breaker golden awl to break Bai Shiming's soul-binding lock. Because of this, Yunmia's laughter came to an abrupt end. Yunmia had made countless calculations. He had even planned to eliminate the 3 ancient Era's clans. However, he had never imagined that Bai Shiming, who he had treated as a chess piece, would actually plot against him. The Frost Dao Law was related to the secret of the legendary eternal Dao fruit. There were countless Dao laws in the world, but 9 of them were the most special. The reason for that was because these 9 Dao laws contained the secret of eternity. They were the manifestation of the eternal Dao fruit. Yunmia had given the Frost Dao Law to Bai Shiming not because he truly loved her, but because he had devoured the ice demon soul back then. If he continued to absorb the Frost Dao Law, he wouldn't be able to bear it. Chapter 27:20. There were 4 types of space jade talismans: white jade talisman, black jade talisman, silver talisman, and gold talisman. Each of the 4 types of space jade talismans was more powerful than the last. The gold space jade talisman that Bai Shiming had activated was so powerful that even a Dao master could not stop her. Unless one was proficient in the law of space or had the best spatial artifact to seal the space. Tang Ao had thought that he would be able to obtain an Ice Dao Law this time, but after seeing Bai Shiming escape, he sighed and spat out a mouthful of blood before fainting. Tang Ao's injuries were not serious this time. It was just that he had used up more vitality than Tang Ao could bear. However, at this moment, as the Jade Bone Life Soul circulated frantically, the vitality within Tang Ao's body was recovering bit by bit. Tang Ao's aged face gradually recovered. His withered white hair also turned white, and black hair gradually appeared. Crack! Outside the 3 ancestors' holy land, Tang Ao's psyche doppelganger shattered instantly. Bai Shihan, who had been imprisoned by Tang Ao's psyche doppelganger, also regained her freedom. At that moment, Bai Shihan's eyes were empty and blank. She could not believe that her sister had become so unfamiliar to her that she would resort to such unscrupulous means to achieve her goals. However, after a while, Bai Shihan gritted her teeth and sacrificed another drop of blood essence to open the 3 ancestors' holy land. After opening the 3 ancestors' holy land twice in a day, Bai Shihan's face was pale, and her aura was extremely weak. However, Bai Shihan still took out a healing elixir and fed it to Tang Ao. Then, she placed Tang Ao on the frost jade bed. In fact, compared to the several life and death crises that Tang Ao had faced before, the crisis that Tang Ao had faced this time was not very dangerous. In particular, although Tang Ao was unconscious, Tang Ao was not seriously injured. Even if Bai Shiming had not come in, Tang Ao would have awakened under the Jade Bone Life Soul's care. However, under Bai Shihan's care, Tang Ao completely woke up after a day. Right then, the immortal spirit power inside Tang Ao's body was surging. Tang Ao thought that it would take a long time before he could reach the 9th level of the astral reaching realm. However, Tang Ao did not expect that even though he had encountered such a crisis in the 3 ancestor Holy Land, he had still managed to break through to the 9th level of the astral reaching realm. Because of the uniqueness of the 9 Dragons Emperor's jade body, every breakthrough in Tang Ao's cultivation required not only a long period of comprehension, but also a terrifying amount of cultivation resources. The 30% of immortal spirit power that Tang Ao had consumed in the 3 ancestor Holy Land would have been enough to nurture 30 peak astral reaching level 9 experts in the outside world. Tang Ao knew that he could break through to the yin-yang realm with this enlightenment, but Tang Ao gave up at the last moment. Tang Ao knew that even if he had tried to break through to the yin-yang realm just now, it would have been a surefire success. However, after understanding the power of the laws, Tang Ao was prepared to perfect all of his martial arts and technique. When he had a clearer understanding of the laws, he would break through to the yin-yang realm. In Tang Ao's opinion, the reason why there was such a huge gap between yin-yang realm warriors was because there was a huge gap between the astral reaching realm and the yin-yang realm. Because of the difference in their understanding of the power of the natural laws, there was already a huge gap between them. Chapter 27-21. Bai Shiming was a black-bellied and vicious person, but her younger sister, Bai Shihan, was a pure and kind-hearted person. Tang Ao even felt that this was unfair. If the Ice Dao Law had chosen a master, it should have chosen Bai Shihan, not Bai Shiming. However, Tang Ao immediately chuckled. Not everything in this world was fair. Big brother Tang Ao, this is the origin of our three ancient races. It is called the Three Ancestors' Sacred Land. Apart from being the origin of our three ancient races, there are also three ultimate treasures here. The Ice Dao Law you saw earlier is rumored to be related to the Eternal Dao Fruit. However, I'm not too sure what the Eternal Dao Fruit is. Yunmia, who you killed, was originally the young master of the Sky Wolf tribe. He should have perished. Although I don't know why he was fine back then, he has finally paid with his life. His ice demon soul is rumored to be the previous owner of the Ice Dao Law. Some people also say that it is the Yuan spirit of a godly monarch. However, the tribe leader said that the ice demon soul was actually the artifact spirit of a divine object. Tang Ao didn't say anything. He just listened quietly to Bai Shihan. Furthermore, Tang Ao didn't correct her that he hadn't killed Yunmia. Although Yunmia had been plotted against by Bai Shiming, Tang Ao would have used the primordial sacred sky bow to finish him off even if Bai Shiming hadn't plotted against him. Tang Ao didn't know why Bai Shihan was telling him this, but Tang Ao just listened quietly. This divine object is called the Ice Emperor Seal. It was snatched away by the human race during a great battle, but the artifact spirit of the Ice Emperor Seal was left behind by our ancestors. Apart from the Ice Dao Law and the Ice Emperor Seal, this place also has an ultimate treasure called the Time Disk. It is said to be a divine object that can control the power of the Time Law. However, I have never seen it before. I am telling this to Big Brother Tang Ao because I have a request. Bai Shihan's eyes were somewhat gloomy. If she had a choice, she would rather not have reincarnated. She didn't want to know the truth behind the extinction of the three ancient races, because this kind of truth was truly too cruel, too torturous for Bai Shihan. His own sister had helped Yunmia slaughter his entire clan, kill his parents, and even himself. If it wasn't for the fact that he somehow retained the memories of his previous life after reincarnation, he would have disappeared with the passage of time along with his clansmen. Junior sister Bai, please speak. Tang Ao didn't agree immediately. Tang Ao also sympathized with Bai Shihan's experience, but if Bai Shihan asked Tang Ao to do something that Tang Ao couldn't or wasn't willing to do, then Tang Ao naturally wouldn't do it. Therefore, Tang Ao wanted to hear what Bai Shihan's request was. Senior brother Tang Ao, Bai Shiming killed my parents and slaughtered my entire clan. I hope that senior brother Tang Ao can kill Bai Shiming when you have the ability. Bai Shihan didn't call Bai Shiming big sister. From this moment on, Bai Shihan and Bai Shiming would no longer have anything to do with each other. Alright, I promise you. However, you have to promise me something. Tang Ao wouldn't let someone like Bai Shiming off. Furthermore, Tang Ao believed that Bai Shiming wouldn't let him off either once she merged with the Ice Dao Law. The next time they met, it would be a fight to the death. Chapter 27-22. Junior Sister Bai, no matter what happens in the future, if you can kill Bai Shiming, don't hold back. Because if you do, she won't hold back. I'm sure you understand this as well. Of course, Tang Ao wasn't spouting nonsense. After Bai Shiming obtained the Ice Dao Law and obtained the Ice Devil Soul, it didn't seem possible for Bai Shihan to kill Bai Shiming. Bai Shihan's expression was a little gloomy. If possible, she was willing to take revenge with her own hands. However, Bai Shihan also knew that Bai Shiming had obtained 1.5 of the 3 ancestor holy grounds' 3 supreme treasures. No matter how hard she cultivated, she might not have a chance in this lifetime. Do you think that no matter how hard you cultivate, you won't have a chance to surpass Bai Shiming? Tang Ao saw through Bai Shihan's thoughts and said with a smile. Bai Shihan nodded when she heard Tang Ao's words. The Cold Emperor's seal was a treasure coveted by Tao masters and even divine kings. Bai Shiming had obtained the Cold Emperor's seal's artifact spirit, which meant that she had the chance to control the seal. In addition, Bai Shiming had the Ice Dao Law. Bai Shihan didn't want to give up on revenge, but her heart was filled with helplessness. You just said that there are 3 treasures here. Other than the Ice Dao Law and the Cold Emperor seal, there's also a time plate. Do you know where the time plate is? Tang Ao said casually, but he was also filled with emotions. The time plate is definitely here, but after the ancestor fell, even the patriarchs and elders of the 3 clans didn't know where it was. Bai Shihan shook her head, her eyes filled with sadness. Among the 3 treasures, the time plate could be said to be the most precious and powerful. If she could obtain it, she would definitely be able to take revenge with her own hand. Others might not know where the time plate is, but I do. Tang Ao sighed in his heart. Time was actually so mysterious. Where is it? Bai Shihan blurted out subconsciously. However, after saying it, Bai Shihan also knew that a treasure like the time plate would tempt even divine kings. Even if Tang Ao knew where the time disk was, or even if she could see the time disk, Tang Ao would never give the time disk to her. Although the time disk belonged to the 3 ancient clans, Tang Ao had no reason to give it to her. If it was any other martial artist who came here and knew Shi Guang's whereabouts, they would even kill her to silence her. No one wished for others to know that the time plate was with them. The disk of time is here. Tang Ao pointed at Bai Shihan with a serious expression. Bai Shihan thought that Tang Ao was joking, but at this moment, Bai Shihan was mentally and physically exhausted. She really wasn't in the mood to joke around. Although she knew that she wouldn't be able to obtain the time plate and that Tang Ao might not be able to find the disk of time, Bai Shihan still hoped that Tang Ao's luck would be better and he might be able to find the disk of time here. Just as Bai Shihan was feeling puzzled, Tang Ao guided the power of the laws of time in the surrounding space towards Bai Shihan. Bai Shihan had seen Tang Ao's miserable state before. She immediately smiled bitterly. She immediately understood that Tang Ao wouldn't let her off after knowing these secrets. Moreover, he would use the power of the laws of time to exhaust her lifespan and kill her. Bai Shihan didn't resist. Perhaps dying like this was a good ending for her. It was just that Bai Shihan didn't expect that after the power of the laws of time gathered on her body, she didn't lose her lifespan and vitality like Tang Ao. Instead, a sacred and vast white light suddenly flew out of her body. After this white light flew out, it immediately transformed into a ring in mid-air. This ring also flickered with countless white lights, and there were many mysterious runes and totems on it. After this white light appeared, the power of the laws of time in the surrounding space started to gather, and this white light ring started to become increasingly clear. After the power of the laws of time dissipated from the surrounding space, a ring shining with white light appeared in front of Tang Ao and Bai Shihan's eyes. The aura of time continuously circulated around this ring, and countless cryptic and mysterious fluctuations spread out like tidal waves. It was extremely mysterious. Even though Bai Shihan hadn't seen the time plate before, she could recognize it at a glance. This was the time plate recorded in the clan's ancient record. Bai Shihan never dreamed that the time plate would be on her body. "It's my mother." A moment later, Bai Shihan recalled the source of the white light in her body. Before her mother died, she had inserted a talisman into her body. At that time, her mother seemed to want to say something to her. But before she could say anything, her mother's body and soul were both destroyed. The scenes of the past appeared in front of her once again. Bai Shihan's eyes were filled with tears. Chapter 27-23. This is mine. Bai Shihan's beautiful eyes looked at Tang Ao in disbelief. She stared closely into Tang Ao's eyes, as if she wanted to see through Tang Ao's thoughts. However, in Tang Ao's eyes, Bai Shihan didn't see the slightest bit of hypocrisy or greed. Facing a supreme treasure like the time disk, Tang Ao wasn't tempted at all. Of course, it wasn't that Tang Ao wasn't tempted. If this disk belonged to Yunmia or Bai Shiming, then Tang Ao would have tried to snatch it no matter what. These two were extremely ruthless. In their hands, the time disk would only harm others. However, the time disk belonged to Bai Shihan, so Tang Ao naturally wouldn't have any thoughts of snatching it. Bai Shihan had long since obtained the recognition of the time disk. It was just that her cultivation base was too low, and she hadn't touched the level of laws yet. Therefore, although Bai Shihan had entered the Three Ancestor Holy Land many times, she didn't know that the time disk was hidden there. After comprehending the power of laws, Tang Ao also had a clear understanding of the power of laws. Before reaching the astral reaching realm, martial artists would be unable to comprehend the power of laws due to their low cultivation base. However, after martial artists cultivated to the astral reaching realm, those families with deep foundations and orderly inheritances would use all kinds of methods to guide their descendants to comprehend the power of laws of heaven and earth, or they would directly impart the experiences of their predecessors to speed up their descendants' cultivation speed. After comprehending the laws of heaven and earth to a certain degree, they would be able to form the embryonic form of their own great Tao. At this level, astral reaching realm martial artists would be able to break through the shackles of astral reaching realm and become yin-yang realm martial artists. Even the weakest yin-yang realm martial artist would be able to grasp the power of laws. Therefore, the gap between astral reaching realm martial artists and yin-yang realm martial artists was like a chasm that couldn't be crossed. Of course, there were exceptions to everything. Just like Tang Ao, who was able to comprehend the power of law at astral reaching realm, he was able to use the power of law. Even if the power he could use was minuscule, he was still able to fight against yin-yang realm warriors at astral reaching realm. "Thank you, senior brother Tang Ao." Bai Shihan clasped her fists towards Tang Ao with a look of gratitude. Her body had a special connection with the time disk. Thus, the instant the time disk condensed, Bai Shihan understood how heaven-defying the time disk was. At this moment, when Tang Ao asked her to keep the time plate, he wasn't lying. Tang Ao didn't have any thoughts of snatching the time plate. Tang Ao nodded and looked around suspiciously. After keeping the time plate, Bai Shihan also obtained quite a lot of information from the time plate. This information was all-encompassing, but Bai Shihan's eyes quickly lit up. Bai Shihan's pretty face was filled with shock. After a while, Bai Shihan took out a blank jade slip and began to draw something on it. Tang Ao also saw Bai Shihan's actions, but Tang Ao didn't care. Tang Ao found the triple ancestor sacred ground a little strange at that moment. Tang Ao faintly felt that there seemed to be a sealing array inside the triple ancestor sacred ground. However, the aura of this array was very vague. Tang Ao's perception was vague and unclear. Therefore, Tang Ao couldn't determine whether there was a sealing array or not. At the same time, there was something hidden inside the array. Chapter 27-24. I see. After reading by Shihan's Jade Slip, Tang Ao immediately took out several array flags. However, Tang Ao didn't immediately throw out the array flags. Instead, he said to Bai Shihan, "Junior sister Bai, I want to open the Cloud Mist region." As a descendant of the three ancient clans, Bai Shihan could be considered the owner of this place after Bai Shimeng betrayed her clan. "Senior brother Tang Ao, I am greatly indebted to you for giving me the time plate. This Cloud Mist region is a barren space. Senior brother Tang Ao can take a look at it at any time." The time plate contained countless years of information. This information was all-encompassing, and there were naturally records of the Cloud Mist region. After Bai Shihan agreed, Tang Ao immediately threw out the array flags in his hand. After these flags landed in specific array positions, formless waves spread out. Tang Ao formed several hand seals and said, "Open." With a low shout from Tang Ao, a spatial crack appeared in the center of the three ancestors' sacred ground. This space seemed to be wrapped in a mass of clouds and mist, making it hard to see clearly. However, Tang Ao didn't hesitate. His figure flashed and he entered the Cloud Mist region. Once he entered the Cloud Mist region, Tang Ao saw that it was indeed an independent space. This place was vast and boundless. In midair, there was a floating misty continent. Bai Shihan also followed Tang Ao into the Cloud Mist region. Even as a member of the three ancient clans, this was the first time Bai Shihan knew that the three ancestors' sacred ground actually had such a sealed space. The Cloud Mist region was full of vitality. There were many immortal herbs of different grades. It was like a paradise. In mid-air of the Cloud Mist region, there was a continent formed by clouds and mist. Let's go up and take a look. The Cloud Mist continent was tens of thousands of feet above the ground. This distance was naturally not a problem for Tang Ao and Bai Shihan. Tang Ao originally thought that the Cloud Mist continent would be empty. However, after arriving at the continent, Tang Ao was immediately stunned by the scene in front of him. What appeared in front of Tang Ao and Bai Shihan was a stretch of broken walls. Although they were in ruins, they could still see how majestic this place was in its heyday. On one of the jade pillars, Tang Ao saw four big words: Cloud Mist Immortal City. In the three ancestors' sacred ground, the laws of heaven and earth were already very clear and complete. But after arriving here, Tang Ao discovered that not only was the immortal spiritual energy terrifyingly dense, but the laws of heaven and earth were also extremely clear. Tang Ao even suspected that in this place, as long as the warriors were not too weak, once they reached the astral reaching realm level 9 and had the help of the Yin-Yang Dual Extreme Pellet, they would definitely be able to sense the power of the natural laws and reach the Yin-Yang realm. What a great place! Tang Ao couldn't help but sigh in his heart. He didn't know who built this simple and majestic Cloud Mist Immortal City here. Previously, Tang Ao had the idea of setting up a plot of land near the Thousand Feather Snow Mountain. However, now Tang Ao had changed his mind. If he wanted to establish a sect, this was the most suitable location. However, there was a problem right now. It seemed that entering this place would not be easy. He couldn't let Bai Shihan force out a drop of blood every time someone came in. Then, he would have to activate the array in the three ancestors' sacred ground to let people come to this Cloud Mist Immortal City. Chapter 27-25. The Cloud Mist Immortal City was the most suitable place for this. It was just that Tang Ao never expected that the first step of entering and exiting would stumble him. Of course, Tang Ao could set up a teleportation array, but where to set up the teleportation array in the outside world was another problem. Most importantly, Tang Ao felt that since someone had built the Cloud Mist Immortal City here before, there must be a way to connect it to the outside world. Tang Ao guessed that since the Cloud Mist region was an independent world, the only way to connect it to the outside world was through a teleportation array. At this thought, Tang Ao immediately became excited. As long as he found the teleportation array in the Cloud Mist Immortal City, it would not be difficult for Tang Ao to find out the location of the teleportation array in the outside world. Just as Tang Ao was looking for the teleportation array, the chaotic 6 light mirror hanging around Tang Ao's neck suddenly trembled. Immediately, Tang Ao felt a special aura. This aura was a little special. In Tang Ao's perception, this aura seemed to be somewhat happy because of the appearance of the chaotic 6 light mirror. While Tang Ao was puzzled, he moved and immediately appeared in the center of the Cloud Mist Immortal City. When Tang Ao approached, he found that this aura came from a pile of ruins in front of him. When Tang Ao stepped in, a sudden burst of teleportation array suddenly erupted. Before Tang Ao could react, he appeared in a magnificent hall. Bai Shihan, who had followed Tang Ao, did not even see Tang Ao being transported away by the teleportation array. When Tang Ao arrived in the hall, he immediately became vigilant. When he sensed that the aura was in front of him, Tang Ao looked up. When he saw the figure not far away, Tang Ao's face instantly hardened. "It's you." Not far away from Tang Ao, there was a white-clothed man with his back facing Tang Ao. The white-robed man did not have any immortal essence energy fluctuations on his body. He simply stood there. However, when Tang Ao looked over, the white-robed man gave Tang Ao the feeling that he was a part of the world. In other words, he was the ruler of this world. From the Langyur Realm Lord, Tang Ao could only sense a tyrannical and majestic aura. He didn't feel like he was the ruler of this world. This feeling might sound ridiculous, but it wasn't strange at all for the person in front of him to feel this way. Tang Ao had never seen this man before. Tang Ao had only seen him in the incomplete image of the Fire Tao Law. This ordinary-looking man was a God King powerhouse. Although Tang Ao had long known that godly king powerhouses existed in this world, this was the first time Tang Ao had come into close contact with a godly king. Godly king powerhouses were the true rulers of this world. They were powerful existences that transcended the world. Although the white-robed man before him gave Tang Ao an oppressive feeling of the ruler of this world, Tang Ao still felt that this figure didn't seem to be his real body. It was just a projection, or rather, a trace of his psyche. After an unknown amount of time, the white-robed man turned around slowly. His eyes were deep, vast, and filled with endless loneliness. Chapter 27-26. Cloud Emperor's tone was very casual. The Cloud Mist region, also known as the Cloud Mist Immortal Ruins, was not an ordinary spatial world, but one of the 10 remaining innate secret realms. The Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce and various forces of the true martial realm had been preparing for 1,000 years to enter the Heavenly Law secret realm, which was also one of the 10 innate secret realms. Back then, Cloud Emperor had gone through countless bloody battles to obtain this Cloud Mist Immortal realm. There were only 10 innate secret realms, but there were more than 100 Divine King experts in the world at their peak. This showed how precious this Cloud Mist Immortal realm was. "Senior, please tell me. If I can do it, I won't refuse." Tang Ao did not know whether Cloud Emperor had really fallen or not. However, seeing that Tao Masters were in charge of the true martial realm, Tang Ao was sure that there should not be any Divine King experts in the current true martial realm. Otherwise, any Divine King would be able to sweep across the heavens. Tao Masters were like gods in the eyes of ordinary people. However, in front of Divine King experts, they were still ants. Back then, Tang Ao had seen from the incomplete picture of the Tao of Fire that Divine King experts could kill countless Tao Masters with just a wave of their hands. Although the Divine King experts who could compete for the Eternal Tao Fruit were the best in the Divine King realm, one could still see the huge gap between the Divine King realm and the Tao Master realm. Although Tang Ao also coveted Cloud Emperor's Cloud Mist Immortal realm, Tang Ao did not make any promises. A task entrusted to him by a divine king expert would not be simple. Although the Cloud Emperor was only left with a soul-will doppelganger, Tang Ao believed that this soul-will doppelganger might even be able to fight against a Tao master, not to mention a weak martial artist at the peak of astral reaching realm level 9. The true martial realm is vast and boundless, containing countless planes. However, the true martial world wasn't endless. In the vast void, the true martial world only included 36 worlds and the surrounding planes of these 36 worlds. Outside of this, there are also superplanes on the same level as the true martial realm. Cloud Emperor's words were filled with nostalgia, as if he was thinking of the time when he had been unstoppable. However, the Cloud Emperor's casual words stirred up a storm in Tang Ao's heart. Tang Ao had always believed that the 36 realms of the true force world were the entirety of this world. But now, Tang Ao had learned from the Cloud Emperor that there was a superplane that was on the same level as the true force realm. Moreover, Tang Ao faintly felt that the matter that the Cloud Emperor had entrusted to him could only be completed outside of the true force domain. There is a superplane outside the true martial world. It is called the Earth Devil World. The Earth Devil World didn't have innumerable planes like the true martial world. Instead, it was a huge plane. There was a dangerous place in the Earth Devil realm called the Fallen God Abyss. The Fallen God Abyss was very special. Even a God King realm expert could not stay here for a long time. However, with the protection of the chaotic aura, there's no need to worry about being corroded into nothingness by the Fallen God Abyss. Hearing the Cloud Emperor's words, Tang Ao immediately understood why the Cloud Emperor wanted his help. Tang Ao was very sure that if the Fallen God Abyss was really like what the Cloud Emperor said, and the matter that the Cloud Emperor wanted to do was also carried out in the Fallen God Abyss, then perhaps only he could help the Cloud Emperor. Not for anything else, but because he had the chaotic 6-light mirror. Chapter 27:27. I believe you now understand why I asked you for help. With the chaotic godly king's chaotic 6-light mirror, this is very simple. Long ago, I sealed a drop of soul blood and hid it in Fallen God Abyss so that after I die, I can use this drop of soul blood to be reborn. You just have to help me bring the soul blood out of Fallen God Abyss, and this will be done. Rebirth from a drop of blood sounded very shocking, but to godly king experts, this wasn't very difficult. However, those who could kill godly king experts were also godly king experts. After killing a godly king expert, they definitely wouldn't leave the other's soul blood in this world. It was an absolute annihilation of both body and soul, a complete annihilation. However, Tang Ao secretly admired this Cloud Emperor. He actually sealed the soul blood and hid it in Fallen God Abyss. Even godly king experts couldn't stay in Fallen God Abyss for long. This way, even if Cloud Emperor's enemies knew that Cloud Emperor hid the soul blood in Fallen God Abyss, they wouldn't be able to find it. Thinking that Cloud Emperor only wanted him to bring the soul blood out of Fallen God Abyss, Tang Ao happily agreed. After all, Cloud Emperor didn't say when he would bring the soul blood out. Therefore, Tang Ao's current plan was to wait until he reached peak Godly King before fulfilling his promise. Although Cloud Emperor didn't do anything even though he knew the chaotic 6-light mirror was on him, that was because Cloud Emperor was only a remembrance clone. Even with the chaotic 6-light mirror, it was useless. Soul remembrance clones couldn't refine immortal artifacts. Even if Cloud Emperor obtained the primal chaos 6-light mirror, he couldn't use his soul remembrance identity to retrieve his soul blood. This was because Cloud Emperor couldn't use the primal chaos 6-light mirror. Alright, Junior agrees. When Junior has the ability to go to Earth Demon World, I will definitely bring Cloud Emperor Sr.'s soul blood out of Fallen God Abyss. Tang Ao didn't believe that Cloud Emperor would believe him so easily. He definitely had some way to counter him. Tang Ao also wanted to see what Cloud Emperor was going to do. Also, Tang Ao believed that Cloud Emperor had lived for so many years. He couldn't have not considered the issue of time. Not when you have the ability to go. You have to go within 1,000 years. When the Cloud Emperor said that, his tone was no longer gentle. With a wave of his hand, a white light instantly entered between Tang Ao's eyebrows. Tang Ao had long guessed that a divine king expert, even a psyche avatar, was not something he could deal with. Tang Ao wanted to dodge the Cloud Emperor's doppelganger. However, in that instant, Tang Ao felt as though the world around him had bound him tightly. No matter how strong Tang Ao was, it was useless. Seeing Tang Ao's ugly expression, the Cloud Emperor said calmly, "I don't trust anyone. That's why I inserted 2 cloud soul nails into your spiritual sea. One of these 2 cloud soul nails can kill a top-notch turbid sky expert when you are in danger. As for the other nail, if you don't extract my soul blood within 1,000 years, it will destroy your spiritual sea. You will be destroyed in both body and soul, and you will never be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation." Tang Ao's expression grew uglier. Tang Ao was willing to make this deal with Cloud Emperor, but Tang Ao didn't want to be threatened. However, Tang Ao felt very helpless. This Cloud Emperor was simply too strong. Even though it was just a psyche avatar, Tang Ao couldn't resist. Especially after Cloud Emperor inserted 2 cloud soul nails, Tang Ao felt that Cloud Emperor could kill him with a single thought. Chapter 27-28. Cloud Emperor had indeed seen the 2 heavenly Tao laws within Tang Ao's body. Moreover, he had also discovered that Tang Ao had the 9 Dragons Emperor Jade body, just like the Primal God King. At this moment, Cloud Emperor was even considering whether to reconstruct his Tao body when Tang Ao extracted his soul blood, or to directly seize Tang Ao's body. Tang Ao was merely an ant at the peak of 9th level astral reaching realm, yet he already possessed a fire Tao law and half a thunder Tao law. Then, 1,000 years later, when Tang Ao extracted his soul blood, Tang Ao would have many good things on him. Adding the half Tao law in Tang Ao's body, as well as the ice Tao law he had obtained back then, Cloud Emperor instantly had 2 half Tao laws. It should be known that when the eternal Tao fruit shattered, it transformed into 9 heavenly Tao laws. Even the strongest Primal God King had only obtained a half Tao law. And now, he had obtained a half Tao law so easily. Senior Cloud Emperor, if you are determined to bind Junior like this, Junior would rather die here than go to the Earth demonic world to extract soul blood. Tang Ao certainly didn't want to die. However, being bound like this by Cloud Emperor, Tang Ao was unwilling. Although Cloud Emperor said he had 1,000 years, the Cloud Soul Nail was still in his sea of consciousness. How could Tang Ao know when it would explode? "Do you think you have the qualifications to negotiate with me?" Cloud Emperor's voice was cold, and a superior aura suddenly erupted from his body. At this moment, the surrounding heaven and earth seemed to tremble. Each word and action could already affect heaven and earth. This was the power of a God King expert, whose words were law. Junior's cultivation is still shallow, and his experience is insufficient. I don't know if there are other objects containing endless primal aura in this world. However, if Junior were to die here, Junior doesn't think Senior Cloud Emperor would be able to give away the Primal Chaos 6 light mirror. Tang Ao didn't continue speaking, but nervously looked at Cloud Emperor. Tang Ao was betting that the reason Tang Ao came here was because the Primal Chaos 6 light mirror had been lured by Cloud Emperor. Therefore, Tang Ao felt that although this doppelganger of Cloud Emperor was powerful, it shouldn't be able to leave this palace. Otherwise, with the doppelganger's strength, there was no need to lure him here. Moreover, after Tang Ao came here, Cloud Emperor had said that he was a descendant of the Primal God King. This meant that after leaving this palace, Cloud Emperor's doppelganger's perception would be very weak. Emperor's doppelganger's doppelganger can't leave this palace. Don't be finished. You still have a companion in Cloud Mist Immortal City. If I can lure you here, I can also lure your companion here. I don't know if your doppelganger isn't afraid of death, or if he doesn't accept my conditions. Even if the two of you die here today, there will still be people who will come here in the future, and this remembrance doppelganger of mine can persist for at least 1,000,000 years. Emperor, Ao Jr. is Emperor, Chun, Emperor's Heaven, Ao is Emperor. Emperor, Tang Ao and Emperor and Chun, and Emperor was. Emperor, Tang Ao Tang Ao's Emperor. It was as if he was telling Tang Ao that he wasn't lying. In fact, Emperor didn't say anything. He was even holding back. His doppelganger was very special. As long as the palace's array wasn't destroyed, this doppelganger could exist forever. Chapter 27-29. If Cloud Emperor could really wait for 1,000,000 years, then why would he go to the Earth Demon realm to extract his soul blood within 1,000 years? He had even planted 2 cloud soul spikes in his sea of consciousness. According to what the Cloud Sovereign had said earlier, 1 cloud soul spike was enough to kill off a peak turbid heaven stage expert. Tang Ao's master, Remembrance, had also given Tang Ao the Sky Thunder Bead, which had the same effect as the Cloud Soul Nail, capable of killing peak sky realm experts. Tang Ao suddenly remembered that when he asked 9 heavens for a few more divine lightning beads, 9 heavens thought had told him that it would take a long time to refine a single-use magic weapon. Therefore, even 9 heavens thought only had 1. At his peak, Remembrance was a demigod expert, which was the realm of half-step God King. Tang Ao knew that even if Cloud Emperor's strength was much higher than Remembrance's, and refining this kind of Cloud Soul Nail took less time, Tang Ao didn't believe that Cloud Emperor had a lot of them on him. The Cloud Soul Nail, which could kill peak-level chaotic sky realm experts, was a supreme treasure for weak astral-reaching realm martial artists like Tang Ao. However, for God King level experts like the Cloud Emperor, it was of no value at all. Even a peak sky realm expert could be killed by a God King expert with a wave of a hand. In that case, no God King expert would waste time and effort to refine this kind of artifact. Moreover, this kind of artifact was mostly for the younger generation to use for self-defense. Therefore, even if Cloud Emperor had a lot of Cloud Soul Nails, he wouldn't have many. Even if Cloud Emperor had a lot of time to wait, Tang Ao didn't believe that he had countless Cloud Soul Nails on him. He could use them to suppress all the martial artists that came here. Before Cloud Emperor died, he could refine Cloud Soul Nails. But now, he was merely a Soul Remembrance clone. Even if he had great abilities, he couldn't refine Cloud Soul Nails. This was one of the reasons. Another reason was that Cloud Emperor had to go to Fallen God Abyss to extract his soul blood within 1,000 years. Cloud Soul's Remembrance clone could endure for 1,000,000 years, but could his soul blood do the same? The Fallen God Abyss was filled with a special aura that even God Kings could not resist. Even though the Cloud Emperor's soul blood was protected by a special treasure, it could only last for a limited amount of time. As though he understood Tang Ao's thoughts, the Cloud Emperor waved his hand and 10 Cloud Soul Nails appeared in front of Yun Huang. Following which, the Cloud Sovereign said indifferently, "The number of Cloud Soul Nails on me is indeed limited. I only have 10. However, if you wish to die, I will still be able to retrieve the 2 Cloud Soul Nails in your sea of consciousness after you die. There is one more thing I have to tell you. My soul blood is stored in a treasure box made of creation wood. Although the corrosive aura of the Fallen God Abyss is powerful, it will take a very long time to corrode the soul blood sealed in the creation wood box." There was a teasing smile in the Cloud Emperor's eyes as he spoke. Of course, Tang Ao wasn't the first person to come to this place. Ever since he hid his soul blood in the fallen god Abyss, he had refined 30 Cloud Soul Nails in preparation. The Cloud Emperor was a very cautious person. In other words, before Tang-Ao, 10 people had already received benefits from the Cloud Emperor or made a deal with the Cloud Emperor to head to the fallen god Abyss in the Earth Demon world in search of the Cloud Emperor's soul blood. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.